Hello. How is everybody? You know what? I messed this up. Let me fix this real quick. Where is it? There we go. That's what I needed to do. That is what I needed to do. How is everybody doing today? I hope I didn't do anything stupid like mute my mic. It's frickin' Tuesday, guys. It's frickin' Tuesday. How the hell are all of you guys? Like, how are all of you guys? How's life? How's things going? What's up, Mason? I seen you guys talking. I haven't gotten the part I need for that PC yet. I need 2 parts. I need a video card and a wireless dongle. And I got to finish paying off this thing first, which I got another month on. And then I will be using some YouTube monies and credit to get the video card and the wireless dongle. So it's yeah. So probably in the next month and a half-ish, and I should have the other PC up and running and start transferring over and fixing my video, or my video and my audio and all of that. So I might have to take a week or so off of streaming so I can get that all set up, since I only have limited days during the week to set stuff up. So yeah. How's everybody, man? Like, seriously, how is everybody? Pagan, I know you've been feeling under the weather lately. I hope you're feeling better. I know you said Mrs. B is feeling better. So I hope you guys are doing well. So we'll yeah, like it's sucky getting sick. Thankfully I haven't been sick in a little while. It's been like a month, I think, since the last time I got sick. Kind of deserved what? The 700. Like, I saw you guys talking about the 700. Yeah, I'm pretty excited that we even got to past 100, to be honest with you. Not even 100, 50. I'm surprised I was able to get past 50. And it's been a crazy wild ride on YouTube and Twitch and all of that. So I've said it a bunch of times, but thank you all for being here and coming here and hanging out the way you guys do. It's awesome. I'm very blessed, very blessed to have met all of you guys. And I just view it like the old school LAN party. Like, some people that are like that do stream say they have a hard time interacting with chat and whatnot, but I feel like thank you, Mason and Cosmic. I appreciate you. I like, I've talked to a couple of other streamers and they say they have a hard time interacting with people, and they ask me how do I interact with chat? And the way I look at it is, we're all just a bunch of fellow nerds hanging out, and I kind of view this as like a LAN party where we're just sitting around drinking beer, playing games, chilling out, throwing out nerd ideas and hearing what we all got to say. I love it, man. I love every second of it. It's cool that we can even do stuff like this. And like I said, I'm very blessed to have met all of you guys along the way, and it's been a lot of fun. It really has been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun. There we go. I can speak today. I can speak today. Long live the Tuna rants. You know what? I should probably make a video about why it's called the Tunaverse and everything is Tuna related and all of that. Maybe I'll do that one of these days. And I got to finish working on the theme song. Like, I started it and then kind of put it aside for some other things, but there is a theme song, and I have been working on it. And yeah, yeah, exactly, Pagan. I mean, we wouldn't have the Tuna story and Corner Creep and Twitch Guy, and I'm trying to think of some of the other crazy stuff. A bird pecked it. That was, I don't think any, I'm not sure if anybody's heard that story, but I know I told it a long time ago. There's many more stories. I have tons and tons of stories. I've led a interesting life. It's crazy. It's crazy, but yeah. Mason, I know you don't play Star Citizen, but there's a few people in here that do play Star Citizen. How has Star Citizen been treating you lately? I've watched other people play Star Citizen, and I have my opinions, but I'd like to hear from you guys, and what and how Star Citizen is treating you. And what your thoughts and opinion are on 3.24, the delays, the issues that are going on. I'd really like to know how you guys feel. Haven't played since 3.21. I haven't played since 3.22. Blah. Like I say I didn't play, but I put in like maybe 16 to 30 hours from 16.22, whatever the last patch was, 3.23 a little bit, and that was it. I kind of don't see the point right now.
If you would join us.
Hey, Stream Elements joined. I gotta add that line in there to eliminate them. Second load in was a cycle of falling through RCorp. Ouch. Ouch. The servers, honestly, Pagan, the servers have been crap for a long time. We talked about it a few weeks ago about how the replication layer and going into server error. Oh, you're good, Jim. You're good. We were talking about how the replication layer is a good thing because you don't lose your server, but at the same time, it seems like when it kicks in and the replication layer saves the server, that you're stuck. You may not be in the exact same server, but when it spins back up, you're left with the same problems in the server still, and it doesn't seem to fix anything. And I wish that would be fixed, but we're still in this state of we have to wait for server meshing, and server meshing that they still say that they're on track to release 4.0 for quarter 3, and I don't think it's going to happen. They can't get 3.24 out. Quarter 3 ends, I think, the second week of September, if I'm not mistaken. So the first or second week of September. So they're really pressed up against the wall on this one. And then as soon as September ends, they got what, 6 weeks, or excuse me, as soon as September starts, they have what, 6 weeks until CitizenCon. They're not going to make it, in my opinion. They're really not. They're just not going to make it. They're not. I used to have a lot of faith in this company and the project and everything else, but right now, with the way it plays, the lack of game loops, the server instability, the desync, and I could be here for the next 2 hours just talking about the problems that we have in Star Citizen, and I don't feel it's worth my time anymore. I've started playing a lot more games and other titles I would never even dream about playing. Like Nobody Wants to Die. That's usually not a game that I play. Stanley's Parable, which is absolutely hilarious, and I will be doing part 2 of that here shortly, just because I found it so damn funny. What else? I've gone back to Red Dead Redemption. I've been playing some Ghost Recon. I played a little bit of No Man's Sky. I will get to that in a little bit. I have some thoughts on No Man's Sky. I tried Once Human. You know, everybody, there's so many people love Once Human. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's got some good gameplay in it. It's got the shooting in it. It's got the base building. It's got the crafting. It's got the survival. I just find it boring. I found it so boring, and it just didn't hold my interest. If you like the game, like the game. I'm not saying you to dislike the game. I just found it extremely boring right away and just could not get into it at all. And I pushed handful of hours into it and just could not get into it. I wish it was something I could get into, but I can't I can't do it. I can't do it. If to be 100% honest, if I'm going to play a game like Once Human, I'm probably going to play Pal World.
Stay a while and listen.
What's up, Backspace? How are you? Thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. Everybody, Backspace has got a channel on YouTube. You should check it out. I can't get into it. And if I'm going to play a game like that, I'd rather play Pal World, to be 100% honest. And if I really want to get hardcore into like survival and base building and all of that, I'll go back to DayZ. I'll go to DayZ. I find DayZ more entertaining than I do Once Human. But that's just me. I am still playing Cyberpunk 2077. I forgot to mention that in my list of games. So I've been going round and round with games. I really have been. I'm still very early in Cyberpunk 2077. Not because I put down the game because I hate the game. It's just time. There's too little time. Yeah, Path of Exile. Yeah, their new season started recently. Path of Exile is it. Here's my thing with Path of Exile. Love Path of Exile. I love the ability to make so many different types of builds within one character class. I also really enjoy the depth of the game, the crafting, the amount of gameplay that there is in there, the end game, all of it. I love it all to death. My problem with it is it's a personal thing and not a knock against the game. I can't keep up with the seasons and rebuilding a character every 3 to 4 months. When I have as little time as I do, I have to re-rush through 12 acts of the campaign and then finally get into endgame. And if I don't like what I built, I have to go back and fix it, which is very expensive. And then if I want to play non-seasonal, non-ladder, the economy is so screwy in the legacy. I think it's called legacy. In those legacies that, you know, a piece of gear that would cost you early to mid season, you know, 3 to, let's say, 10 chaos orbs, you go over to to the legacy stuff, and they want like 600. So it's crazy. And I know I'm exaggerating, but they want like 60 for that same piece of gear. It's crazy. But yeah, Path of Exile 2 should be really cool. Should be really, really cool. But yeah, I played Path of Exile for probably a year and a couple of months before I got a new computer. I had fun with it. I did have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I played through about 4. Forever Winter looks really cool. I'm looking forward to that game very much. Very, very much. I'm looking forward to it very much. I got copyright claimed for watching the trailer because apparently the music is copyrighted. Who knew, right? Who knew? Also, did you know that the
Fresh meat.
Jay Grizz, what's up? In 2 months, we'll see, man. We'll see. I hope it will be, but we'll see. Also, Stanley Parable, I got copyright claimed on that as well because apparently I can't see what that says. What did you do? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I really do. I appreciate that. Thank you. I gotta fix that. It's supposed to be up higher.
Most impressive.
It's because I changed the I changed the resolution. That's why. That's why. But
Most impressive.
shit, I forgot what I was talking about. Threw me off. You threw me off. You threw me off so hard. I don't even remember what we were talking about. But that's okay. That's okay. That tends to happen when you get old, you know. But seriously, thank you so very much, Fungus. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're making me blush a little bit. No, it's fine, Allergic. It's fine. I just have old man brain. That's all. That's all. So before we're going to start doing some reacts here, otherwise I'll just be sitting here chilling and talking with you guys all day, and I'll have to just change the title to just chatting. Although I'm sure you guys wouldn't mind, but you know, we're going to do some stuff. And as I said in the post and in Discord, if you are not ready for this, I'm sorry. I'm not going to walk anything back. I said that the first half of this was going to be very spicy for Star Citizen and CIG, and I mean to keep that promise. So we are going to fix some stuff here, and I need to grab a I need to grab a screen here. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to do that. We'll do it off of this. We'll do it off of this. We'll use that. Is it gonna grab it? I wonder if it will. Let me try to get this here. We'll pull this over here. Let me see if I can grab this now. Okay.
We would be honored if you would join us.
So we're going to start with this because the first two videos are going to lead, actually, yeah, the first two videos are going to lead up into this. There is very clearly a problem within Star Citizen. It's really, it's become noticeable. If you have been paying attention to what's going on in the servers. Now, when I was playing regularly back in, you know, the tail end of 3.16 all the way up to about 3.22 is when I started to fall away from Star Citizen. I usually saw the same names every day, but there was usually new names and new faces that I would come across. Right now, it's becoming less and less, and I still do watch certain Star Citizen streamers. Why? I like them, I'm friendly with them, and I'm willing to show support for them, even if they are playing a game that I don't enjoy right now. I will watch them, I'll hang out with them, and I'll chat with them, because, like I said, I like them. So, here we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's see. So we'll start this off. The poster is SOS Petty 01 or Sauce Petty 1. We'll just go with SOS. So Star Citizen clearly has a problem. The game is in a decline based on numbers. It has not yet reached the point of no return, but it is well on its way if CIG does not change direction. Just a year ago, the game had well over 250,000 players daily. That went up to as many as 800,000 a day. What happened? Now, here's one of the issues that I have with CIG. They say they're very transparent and they want everything to be, you know, a glass door for you to look in and see what's going on, but they very clearly are not. And I'm not talking about development things. I'm talking about player numbers. Do you know how hard it is to actually find real player numbers? And if you try to go off of CIG's website, they give you an estimation. They don't give you an actual legitimate number. But we do know two things. Well, we'll start off with one. We do know one thing. CIG did come out last year around, I think it was summertime, and say that there are 5.1 million accounts and over 40% of them are alts. So that's very clearly a problem. You're talking about a niche game in a niche genre.
Stay a while and listen.
And it has a player base of maybe 2.5 million, maybe. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Hey, MT, how you doing? We're getting this freight train rolling here. It's going to be, if, like I said, if you're a super crazed Star Citizen fan, this may not be the first hour or so may not be for you. So there are probably many reasons. I'm not claiming to know what the problem is, but it can hardly be argued that there is a problem. CIG would say this is not even a game, and we are not players, merely game testers or backers. But at this rate, the slow death of SC is going to happen within 2 years, where there are hardly any players, backers left. I hope I am wrong. Despite its current state, I still love this game. I also still love this game, and I have high hopes for it yet. But I'm going to be realistic, speculative, or skeptic. I'm going to be a skeptic, and I'm going to have a realistic approach. I do not trust CIG anymore like I did a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I will not put my trust in them again. So yeah, it's just not going to happen. And then this part right here, this is not even a game. It's not a game until you try to sue them, and then legally they tell you it's a released game. So take that for what it's worth. As far as I can tell, SC has an identity problem.
I see you.
Fateless, what's up, man? SC has an identity problem. CIG seem to want it to simply be too many things. FPS, spacesim, RPG, God knows what else all in one. While it is respectable, they put the bar very, very high, and they should really make up their mind what they want it to be. We'll see what else he's got, because I've got some opinions on that as well. In my honest opinion, what made SC great and very different to other games is that the space sim aspects of the game, and yet that seems I think he's what he meant, seems to be going backwards. I'm not arguing for or against MMO. Countless posts do just that, but as it is, it's clearly not working if we believe the numbers. So I'm glad you are, Fateless. I'm glad you are. Is it hot up north there, man? So the poster is right. They are trying to do so many things and encompass it in one game. And there seems to be teams that are dedicated to it. And I've said this multiple times. How many times have we seen teams get brought out and they get plopped in front of us for Starcitizenlove? And when I don't remember what creator it was. It was either Kamerl or Golgot or somebody of that nature went through and went into all the departments and then started matching stuff up to Starcitizenlove. Some of those guys that come out there and they're like, oh, I'm the head of FPS, blah, blah, blah. And I run the department in my team. And then a few weeks later or months or even a year, they bring out that the whole team and that team lead, and you find out he's leading 2 people. So can we really get as much work done as we want to get done if there's only 2 people and then a manager over them who, if we know anything about game development, or let's just say management in general, if you're a low-level manager, how many meetings do you go to in a day? Like where I've been in retail, warehouses, some manufacturing, it's you have a meeting before you have the meeting to have the meeting, then you have the meeting, and then it's lunch, and then you have 2 more meetings in the afternoon, and you don't even really meet with your team, and you're just sending emails and texts saying, hey, get this done, hey, get that done. So it's kind of a crapshoot. So, and you can't, If you're going to be an FPS game, you have to focus on FPS. If you're going to be a space sim game, you need to focus on the space sim part. And I think they got everything all over the place, and they don't know how to put it together into one thing. But hey, if SC wants to be an FPS, good luck with that. The market on that field is crowded, from Call of Duty Warzone to Valorant, Counter-Strike, Halo, Tarkov, and there's so many more. There's so many more FPS games. These games are the best in their genre, and they have been in development for years. Focusing on FPS, it is next to impossible to break their dominance. Many have tried and all failed. He is correct. He's very, very correct. I can see SC trying to be more RPG, but based on what they have today, that is a long shot and won't save our game. I just hope CIG does not want SC to turn into some space Skyrim. They will fail if they try. We do know that they are eventually going to go down this road. They said they've talked about skills and whatnot. We don't know how much they're going to influence our play, but you know it's going down this path. And I said it over a year ago when they started talking about skills. I said, the days of you going, oh, hey, I'm going to be a reclaimer pilot today and part box jockey in the back, and I'm going to move stuff around, and it's going to be great, and my ship is going to be awesome, and things are great. Then you're going to be like, you know what? I want to go do combat stuff and hop into your Gladius or, whatever, and go fly around and fly and blow stuff up. But here's the problem. Once they start introducing skills and things like that, it's going to start locking you out of playing multiple roles within Star Citizen, and you're going to force you into multiplayer, multi-crew, multi-ship, all of that stuff to get to goals that you want without being locked into a specific thing. So if you want to be a fighter pilot, you're going to stuck being a fighter pilot. You want to be a salvager, you're probably going to be stuck being a salvager. You want to be a miner, you're probably going to be stuck being a miner. That's eventually where this is going to go. But we'll see. I agree with you, Mason. I mean, you look, Overwatch, Call of Duty, all of those games, right? What's one thing we know about them? If the store has an outage, it'll be up in 5 minutes. The one thing we can say about Star Citizen is the servers are a mess. There's desync. There's this issue, that issue, this issue. But if the store went down, it would be up in 2.5 minutes. We all know this. We all know this. So, and I don't know Rakumo. I think Skyrim, you're probably right. Skyrim probably does have a large player base still, and it's been out for what, 12, 15 years. And yeah, Backspace is right. It's got mods. You can mod the ever living crap out of it. So, there's that. So anyways, let's get back into this. In my honest opinion, CIG needs to focus on the aspect of the game that brought most of us here, and that is flying spaceships. I agree. They sell tons of spaceships in the pledge store. So flying and the flight model is extremely important. With all the cool staff that comes with it, the battles, piracy, trading, mining, FPS and RPG are an important part of SC, should not be ignored, but the focus should be on flight. I hope I hope this did not come across as an angry rant. I'm genuinely worried about looking at these numbers. Many live games have gone bust lately. Probably many others will follow. Me hoping Star Citizen won't be one of those. So let's look at this.
Stay a while and listen.
Yes, it was supposed to release in 2014, and then in 2015 they said it would be released the following year with meeting all of your promises and so much more. So yeah. But see, I joined back here, way beyond 2023. I joined in spring, summer of 2022, right after Invictus, basically. And this is bad. This is really bad. So look, you can see SitCon, the patch that came out after SitCon, right? And then it's just been in a steady decline. look, here's March when master modes came out. I'm not blaming it on master modes. I'm just saying master modes came out March. Actually, no, it was April. Was it? No, it was March. It was March. It was the first week of March. Here's where master modes came out. And it's just gotten worse and worse. We're under 100,000 now. Actually, we're under 50,000 players right now. And you got to remember, look at what happened with Helldivers, for example. Now, Helldivers has different reasons for it getting its decrease, but Helldivers went from having 1.1 to 1.2 million players per hour concurrently down to 14,000. There are some missteps, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but it was not the game that was the problem. It was something else that was the problem. So here we go. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. I'm not super tech savvy wiser, but I would assume that there are big time problems with Intel. Actually, there's just big time problems. Let me get to this other picture and then I'll hit that. So here's the daily population chart, and it goes from 6/29/30 all the way through July 27th. Their biggest peak at 160 players on July 18th. So they're in trouble. They're obviously 4th of July, nobody played. Everybody was out drinking and shooting fireworks and stuff. But this is not a good thing to be sitting at 40,000 a day. Yeah, they shot up to 160, but look, it was for a day and a half. Day and a half, 2 days. That's it. So let me get into the... I thought it was a well done post, by the way. Whoever did this, it was well done. You can tell that they still have admiration and adoration for Star Citizen. I really don't. I have some hope, but not very much. We'll see. But very well done post. Now, speaking of CPUs, I want to go back to the 3.23 PTU and initial launch of 3.23. 3.22 and all previous patches beforehand, I never had a problem with my CPU playing Star Citizen. Not one time. Never had a problem with it. Never had a problem with my RAM. I have 32 gigs of RAM. Never had a problem with it. 3.23 came out, and my CPU usage and my RAM went up. The RAM went up to 88%. My CPU, just on Star Citizen alone, was 93 to 96% usage. And it was killing everything. I downloaded, under Rakumo's advice, I downloaded the program Lasso and lassoed it down to 4 cores. It's better, but since then I really haven't played much. I don't know what the issue is, whether it's optimization, whether it's a hardware config, whether it's just hardware in general. I really don't know what the issue is, but they've got to get a handle on it. And I was going to do a react to it a while ago, but the react that I was going to say, or the react that I was going to do a while ago, was their new updated minimal specs. And the new updated minimum specs are trash. You basically can't run the game on their new updated specs while playing privately. I was not streaming at the time. I was just playing privately. I was actually trying to get in. Pagan was playing off stream, and I forget exactly what he was doing, but I was going to join him and go hang out, and I couldn't get into the game. It would just be stuttering, and then it would just stop, and the game would shut down, and it'd crash out. I'd get blue screens. It took me a couple of days to get it fixed, and that was thanks to Rakumo suggesting Program Lasso. And like I said, I lassoed it down to 4 cores and put its priority up and did all sorts of crazy things to Star Citizen. And yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I was sending him screenshots off of my phone, doing Discord video, but even then trying to do Discord video and run the game, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare trying to do it. I did stream the day before, and with 3.23 PTU and my PC, and that's when I first noticed that there was a problem, but I didn't know it was my PC at the time. I thought it was just, oh, it's wave 4 or 5 or whatever it was. There's an issue with the patch that they literally just dropped 2 hours beforehand. So I figured, oh, okay, it's a patch problem. And the next day offline, I tried to play with Pagan and it just went and tanked to nothing. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. Pagan brought out another PC and even tried on his, and it was the same thing. So yeah, it was I think it's part patch problem, part optimization problem. So but that's what I think. That's what I think. So, well, now it's time to get on to some more spicy meatballs. The spicy meatballs. Let me get this back up. Oop, there we go.
Long remembered.
Jim. Jim, come on, man. Dude. I mean, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Jim. You didn't have to do that, but thank you. I appreciate that. Jim is a legend. Everybody, big 07 to Jim and Fungus today. Please give them a big 07. And while we're talking about Star Citizen and nice people, great people to hang out with, make sure you go and visit Pagan. He hasn't been streaming lately because he's been pretty sick. I won't get into it. I'll let him do that on his own. But make sure you go and visit Pagan Linux Geek on both YouTube and Twitch. And Backspaced is here. He does a lot of, I'm probably going to mispronounce this. He does a lot of Ex Machina and stuff like that. And I really enjoy a lot of the stuff that he does. My favorite series he did were the 7 Deadly Sins of, what was it? The 7 Deadly Sins of Stanton. Man, awesome. Awesome. That I loved that series. That was really good. So we're going to continue flaming on CIG and Star Citizen here. So like I said, if this makes you weak in the knees, because we're talking Star Citizen trash, I'm sorry. So first and foremost, we're going to go, this is going to be a Camerl heavy first hour. Machinima. That's it. Machinima. Machinima. Ex Machina is a comic book, and I think there's a game called that too. But anyways, Machinima. Yes. Anyways, this is going to be a very Camerl heavy first half. And then we're going to be watching a little bit of a documentary on CIG and Chris Roberts. And so let the classroom begin. And here we go. Camerl 323.1A. Are players leaving Star Citizen Spectrum threads? This is probably going to go over a lot of what we just went over, but let's hear what his opinions are on the matter.
Today I want to talk about the current state of Star Citizen. Star Citizen is an ambitious and huge project. If things take longer and are good in the end, it's totally fine. However, if every first iteration is the lowest effort tier 0, never
Camerl.
touched, never improved for years, then it's not.
I would also like to point this out. If you backtrack their roadmap stuff, the stuff that's completed, the Kickstarter things, and all of that, let's just start with the Kickstarter stuff. Did you guys know that only 10% of the stuff that they listed on the Kickstarter that people originally pledged for, only 10% is finished? Excuse me. let me take that back. Only 10% has made it into the game. And of that 10%, somebody, once again, I don't know if it was Grumpy, Kamerl, Golgot, or any of the other creators that do kind of a critical view of Star Citizen, have said multiple times that it's of that 10%, 80 to 90% of that is tier 0. So I'm just letting you guys know. They've only got 10%. And of that 10%, 80 to 90% of it is tier 0. So yeah, space cats. We all need some space cats.
Fine. If things
Pagan's
are
got a bunch of
forward,
space
but
cats.
backwards, it feels really, really bad. It seems like a lot of players are not playing anymore, are waiting for server meshing, or have just given up. And
Yeah,
what if
I know a
server
lot of
meshing
them.
will not be the big thing that saves Star Citizen? Remember, we had iCache and Zox before that CRG hyped and told us, yeah, those things will make multiple star systems possible. And
So he's talking about iCache. Once again, I would have to find it. It's from a Golgot video, and me and Grumpy spent 2 or 3 hours discussing it. And here's what I want to talk about. They had iCache, pcache, StarNet, and then there was one other thing. And me and Grumpy went back and forth. Like and we both did devil's advocate and then the critical part, right? So we went back and forth on each other, flip-flopping, trying to wrap our minds around iCache, pcache, StarNet, and then there was one more thing. I cannot remember. Was it Socks? It was a Chris Roberts video, and I remember him. So it was in this side of the screen, on the left side of the screen. Chris Roberts was standing here, and then he was, pointing and talking about each item on the screen. And I remember those 3 things specifically. And what me and Grumpy's conclusion is that iCache, pcache, StarNet, and then whatever the 4th item was, all needed to be developed and fixed and somewhat working to get us to, at the time we were talking, we were still playing and pirating, so about 3.20. So we came to the conclusion that all of that was needed just to get us to where we were now. And it has taken all of that time to get us to that point, which was, like I said, 3.20, 3.21, somewhere around there. So all of that was for that. And now we're actually getting into the stuff that they need for the functioning game as far as what they claim and what we backed for. So we'll see if we actually get this stuff anytime soon. Once again, I'm a skeptic now, so we'll see if it happens.
And both failed. Actually, I'm sure CRG can get server meshing to work, but I am 99% sure CRG.
Okay, so Ashes of Creations Alpha 2.0 is supposed to be out any day now and is going to have dynamic grid server meshing, meaning you're going to play on a grid of servers that you can seamlessly transition to without loading screens back and forth and no loss of data. Now, that is supposed to be going live at some point soon. We have within the next year to year and a half, the Dune MMO, where one section of their game is going to be a 3 server meshed area. So we are going to see what happens with that game. And I want you guys to very, very, very... Ooh, data loss is confirmed. Really? So is that why their 2.0 hasn't made it out yet? Because it was supposed to be out mid-July and it's not out yet, from what I understand. So that could be why it's not out yet. So I'm following it, but not like I don't have a magnifying glass on it, so I don't know. But if those get out, then CIG needs to start asking some very serious questions. I had the privilege of talking to some IT guys that specialize in networking, and then some coder guys that that know about networking. And a lot of it went over my head, but what they broke it down to me in layman's terms, I talked to 3 or 4 of them. They broke it down in layman's terms and basically told me this: they could do it, and they could do it now. The problem that they see from the outside looking in is they don't have a staffing problem. They don't have a budget problem. They don't have, none of those are their problem. Their problem is that they cannot seem to manage their data. And they said, if you can't manage your data, then you can't manage server meshing properly. And that was the one big takeaway I took away from that. So like I said, I talked to them and a lot of it just went, whoosh. I don't know what they're talking about with most of that stuff, but that part I remember, and that part made a lot of sense to me.
We cannot get server meshing to work with acceptable lag and do things. What do we have at the moment in the game? We have massive lag and do-sync issues. We always had those, but it has gotten way worse since 3.18
Correct,
and
Rakumo.
introduction of
Correct.
PES. For example, ships are just exploding for no reason, etc. In 3.20,
I've been seeing a lot of the exploding ships for no reason. Like that was a thing that I experienced occasionally in 3.17, and then in 3.18, obviously that was happening a lot because of PES, and it wasn't rendering the garbage in front of hangars and stuff like that. So I've seen it before, but then I didn't see it again. Once they got PES mostly under control, I didn't see that again until now. And now I'm seeing it happen a lot, like a lot. And yes, players are teleporting, and I also missed 3.17, Jim.
the game moved backwards. CRG introduced the arcade and no fun master modes and the terrible, hard-to-use Iron Man UI. Yeah, Chris only cares about cool cinematic. He doesn't care about function or if something is user-friendly. In 3.24 we are getting more time sinks, local inventory gone. Instead we have to use item banks, which add extra.
Okay, I want to talk about time sinks real quick. It is of my opinion that time sinks like they are proposing to put in do us no good when there's no real economy, there's no real player progression at all. Zero, none, zilch. There is nothing. There is nothing at all for you to do unless you want to RP. And that's it. That's it. Now, I brought this up in my Discord, and some people seem to go meh, and some people seem to go meh. It just depends on what side you're on. I think 3.24, unless you're in a 2 to 3 man crew, reclaimer salvage is going to die. That's my opinion. I think reclaimer salvage is going to die, and it's not going to come back until they do some sort of adjustment. And we'll talk about that later. Just bring it up in chat.
Steps when moving or quicking items. Yeah, have fun looting after a bunker mission with local inventory gone. Why replace one thing that is not realistic but convenient, local inventory, with another thing that is not realistic either but very inconvenient, item banks. Item banks are so small, you would have a hard time getting a helmet inside, so item banks are not increasing immersion, quite the opposite. In 3.24, we have to load our...
I've heard some people say that the item banks are to help control the flow of data, but I don't think that's... and entities, but I don't think that's going to help, because Salty Mike said it before, some people that I know that have looked at CIG's entity data and understand what they're looking at, whereas I don't. Every single gun, armor, undersuit, helmet, everything that's in the game currently is its own separate item. They never created an item database where there's variations of said item. Each item, including the ones that are on the pledge store, each one of those is an individual item listed in the item base and is an entity within the game. So I don't think making item kiosks is your way of streamlining the data. What you guys need to do, and it's kind of an unfortunate thing and will take years to do, is they have to go back through all of that and fix that, because that's way too much. That's way, 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 way too much. Oh yeah, the jump gate thing is ridiculous. It's absolutely stupidity.
Ships at outposts manually.
Oh, but nobody's gonna gank. You really don't think that somebody in a Retaliator or an Eclipse is gonna go, oh, look at that. A juicy Hull C coming or going out of Pyro with 4,600 SCUs of whatever crap they have on board. It took them 144 minutes to get that loaded. I'm going to launch a torp at it and kill it in one shot and laugh my ass off and scoot away into the night, and nobody will know what happened. I'll get my crime stat level 3 and I'll be gone out of the area before they even know what hit him. Come on. Like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Ship is wide open. Well, we have to get cargo.
Hey, you just got to set up your voice attack
for it. Everyone can just get onto our ships, go to the pilot
open wormhole.
seat, has full control over our ship.
Spread. No, this would be my voice attack command for it. Spread my hole.
Ships and fly away. Other games, even in alpha, have
somebody's going to clip like that, and I just know
code.
It.
We have nothing in year 12. No keys, no biometric locks.
I think the bigger question is, how are you going to protect your ship and your cargo that's being loaded and unloaded on your ship?
Mr. Rob Reininger, how am I supposed to protect my ship and my cargo when everyone can just get onto our ships while we are doing the loading? Of course, you have to have the ship open.
And you're in an armistice zone, so you can't shoot them. Everything is hard locked in an armistice zone. You can't even put your fists up. So they can just walk on your ship, steal your ship, or, from what I understand, it still hasn't been fixed yet, walk up to the elevator, push the button, and it's now your cargo. So how are we supposed to protect this stuff? Like, I'm all for piracy. I really am. I want to pirate people, but I don't want it to be as easy as I just run onto their ship, push the takeoff button, and get away with it, or run over to the elevator, push the button, and now all the cargo's mine, and I just call all my buddies over and laughing at the guy that we just took this stuff. Like, there's no protection. There's no protection. And like I said, and I'm not asking for there to be protection for people. I'm asking us to give us the ability to shoot people or have people there that are willing to shoot people. Like, what? And if you stand on the elevator, no one can steal it, so it's secure. That's funny.
While you're loading at outposts, we have no keys, we have no biometric locks, we have nothing. This is just terrible, Mr. Rob Reininger. So don't tell us how we are protecting our ships and our cargo. And via Spectrum threads, people are reporting
we just read that, guys.
100 player org is almost empty for months. Well, actually, since 3.23, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Master modes Iron Man UI. Suspetty01 wrote this on Spectrum. Star Citizen clearly has a problem. The game is in a...
That's the other thing I was going to bring up, Jim. You can use a cargo ship tractor beam or your regular personal tractor beam and just start tractor beaming stuff off on them. So you can't do anything. And if I throw a box at you in an armistice zone, it's not going to kill you. Well, it's Star Citizen. It could kill you. It may not kill you. It could just push you into the ground and you'll start falling through, you know, whatever planet or moon you're landed on. But yeah, you're right. Backspace. That's not. I mean, it could be fun, yes, but it's gonna get old fast for the people that is doing the griefing by doing that on their elevators and whatnot. But yeah. That's pretty funny.
A decline based on numbers. And he's showing a chart from mmorpopulation.com, Star Citizen. As you can see, numbers are getting really low. My guess is players don't like master modes and Iron Man UI. However, take this chart with a huge grain of salt. CRG does not release official player numbers.
No,
so
they do
those
not.
sites have to use other means to get
Right.
the numbers. And those means will not be very exact. Still, there seems to be a trend. E.T. Omagasu started this thread. The game, since master mode is stale, players are leaving. I left a comment. A lot of players in this thread are talking about exactly this. The org is now very, very empty. Now it's summertime. Still, it was never that bad before. However, this is not clear evidence. This is
Oh,
just
yeah,
some
for sure,
people
Backspace.
reporting
And
what
and
they
Pagan,
experienced.
those sword
And
fights will be
CRG
funny.
doesn't give us official numbers. Chefto wrote, a lot of my friends who used to care for Star Citizen imperfect as it was dropped the game after recent FPS combat changes, alteration to death of a spaceman, and addition of master modes.
So the lack of medical gameplay, if Mr. E was here, or Blaze, he wanted to do this whole medical org thing similar to like Med Reaper, but the problem is that now that you can just, you know, have a respawn on pretty much every ship and vehicle that exists in Star Citizen now. Yes, I'm exaggerating. All right, I'm exaggerating. There's no need to have a medical service, and you can just go corpse run your shit and get it back and start doing what you were doing just a minute ago. And yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. You know, they unintentionally killed a gameplay loop. As boring as it may have been, they've unintentionally killed a gameplay loop that could have existed within the game. Instead of updating medical gameplay, they just here's this. We think it'll fix stuff.
Orcs I know have lost a lot of active members or outright died because of those death changes. Orpheus wrote,
But yeah, I mean, to be honest, Rakumi, the FPS isn't that tough.
Rollout.
Most people can kill the brain dead AI.
Modes and Iron Man UI.
I agree, Jim.
Booster Zero wrote, I have the same feeling. It's not worth looking into Star Citizen anymore because flying sucks. Before, I could just fly over surfaces for hours and enjoy the feeling. There's nothing left of that. Master mode has destroyed it, thanks to the team. The Old Wolf wrote, after master modes, I give up on the game. To make this perfectly
clear. So, you know, what's funny is they said master modes was supposed to bring in the ships closer and make the combat feel more engaging. All it did was shorten the distance of jousting. You still have jousting fights in Star Citizen, and depending on what ship they're in and how fast the parties are going, you can still get to extreme ranges pretty quickly. So, you know, good luck. Have fun. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I don't want Star.
And refueling, but I mean, refueling, there's really not a need to have a refueler because I'll be honest, until they made master modes a thing, who was running out of hydrogen fuel? Who was running out of quantanium? Not many people did. I would go 3-4 months without seeing anybody in chat go, oh shit, I ran out of gas. Can somebody come and pick me up? It almost never had, like, one person every, and I'm probably even not making a big enough time gap. It was probably once every 4 months, maybe. I never saw anybody run out of gas. And when you're in one system that's so small, it's just not going to be a thing. Hey, Bindi.
Citizen to fail. This game has a lot of potential. And for example, aliens, we haven't even seen
My turds
yet.
have a lot of potential.
But it should be clearly
they're still
evident by now
fucking
that Chris
turds.
Roberts is not the right man to handle such a huge and very ambitious project. Chris still has his priorities on eye candy, fluff, time sinks, and cool cinematic. Chris doesn't care for basics, basic mechanics, some very basic physics, not even now in year 12. Chris, CRG, never have a plan, never have
Stay
a
a while
concept,
and listen.
never think in advance, never think things.
Yes, refueling, welcome Diablo. Refueling could be a bigger thing in Pyro, but we have to take into account 3 things. I'll say 2 for the moment. We'll take into account 2 things. Number 1, most Bobs that are interested in refueling are not going to Pyro. They're not going to do it. Okay, I'm not making fun of Bobs. I'm not saying that Bobs are bad or play the game wrong. I'm just saying that the the Bobs that are interested in stuff like refueling, they're not going to go to Pyro because they know they're going to get shot at. So then number two, most people that go into Pyro already know that there's not very many places to land and get fuel. So once again, they're going to be very cognizant of that, and they're going to be taking larger ships with larger fuel tanks. So once again, I don't see it being a thing. I wish it would be, but it's just not going to happen in Pyro. I don't think. And Jim and Backspace are right. It went from like 13.6 AUs down to 9 point something AUs. So it's not, it's bigger than Stanton, but not by much. So there will be some places that you're not going to be able to get to in one fuel tank like you can in light fighters and Stanton. But I don't think refueling is going to be a thing.
It's true. Again, not even now in year 12. I still have hope left for Star Citizen, but not with Chris calling the shots. As long as Chris
or
is
Tony
making
Z.
the decisions.
Tony Z, unless it's been changed, is director of the PU, and it's been 4.5-5 years since Quanta was talked about, and that's still not a thing because we need this, that, and the other. But do you really think Tony Z is going to lead the PU into the future?
Going nowhere. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
All right, we got a lot to get through, so I'm going to stop it here. That was Camerl. Let me share this with you guys. Make sure you guys get this. You know, make sure you check out Camerl. You know, all these folks that we watch, make sure you go and check them out. Leave them a like, a sub, whatever you do. You guys do you. So we're going to do the next one. Like I said, this first half of this is going to kind of be Star Citizen bashing, and yeah. So the next one, we are doing another Camerl, and then we're going to do the documentary on Star Citizen and CIG. So this one is Camerl 3.231A. Squadron 42 is not content complete. Now, before he speaks, I want to say something.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, no, not yet. Here's what I want to say. Oh, okay, they took him off. Some dude, can't name, is now in charge of PU. Okay, fair enough, Backspace, fair enough. Here's what I want to say about Squadron 42 and being feature complete. It was a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I can't remember when. It was shortly after Master Modes came out, and Yogi said that they're not focusing on 3.23, they're focusing on 4.0, and Master Modes isn't complete. They have to do a lot of balancing and tuning and blah, 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 and all of that. You guys remember that Spectrum post, right? And it did its round around the around YouTube and TikTok and all of that stuff too, where people were laughing and pointing out that they have no inclination to fix it now. They're just going to they're going to kick the can down the road. So I don't think I asked it on stream, but I know I asked several people in Discord, and I said, I doubt that Squadron 42 is feature complete. And they said, well, why would you doubt that? And I said, because Master Modes isn't complete. And they said, no, it doesn't need to be complete for Squadron 42. And I said, yes, it most certainly does. And I gave my reasons. I said, number one, you're going to be doing a majority of Squadron 42 sitting in a cockpit. All right. Yeah, there's going to be some FPS missions and some little, you know, random things along the way that you're going to do. But for the most part, you're going to be sitting in a cockpit of a ship. Right. So Master Modes has to be done for Squadron 42. My second point was, and I still believe this, Squadron 42 will come out for console. Will it initially launch on console? I don't know. Will it be on Council. Eventually it will be. Why? I've told you guys this all before. He's always got this in his hand, and all the pictures and videos you see him playing Star Citizen or Squadron 42. This is in his hand. So this is my opinion. Well, let me finish the story. So I said that, and the person said this to me. Actually, multiple people said this to me. And then I'm paraphrasing. Squadron 42 doesn't need to have master modes balanced and tuned because it's a single player game. And I knew that I wasn't going to have a respectable debate or have my opinions listened to when my next thing would have been this. You can't have a single player game and play master modes in there and have the ships be out of balance, undertuned, whatever you want to say, and the AI is just smacking the player around. That's not fun for the player. Now, you can't have it the other way where it's not balanced or it's overtuned or undertuned and the player is just smoking the hell out of the AI, because that's not fun for the player. There's no challenge in it. So it has to be developed more. It has to be balanced more. And if they gave us master modes in this condition in the PU, there is no way it is in the right condition to play Squadron 42 the way it is. Is it feature complete? I doubt it. I highly, highly, highly doubt it. And also, Squadron 42 has either been feature complete or tech complete now 4 or 5 times. And I've also heard, and this is rumor, that an organization, an org within Star Citizen, got a hold of the completed Squadron 42 game years ago. So is it done? Was it done then? Or is it done now? Or was it done last year? Or when was it done? When was it feature complete? That's the question. When was it done?
We have a posting from Discussion Whatever, Hater115, on his Discord. Link to this is in my first pinned comment below. And take this with a grain of salt. Hater115 is usually well informed, but we don't have very clear confirmations. Substack update. Community manager calls updates to progress tracker nearly impossible due to fluid priorities. Okay, does this sound like not having a plan, not having a concept? My apologies for the deletion earlier. I wanted to make this post a bit clearer. The above article was updated with the following information. This post has several major takeaways relevant to the information above. They are: the speculated PU migration was downplayed. This should see a large contingent of gameplay teams now coming back to focus on Star Citizen.
That's right,
Senior
Weiser.
Game Director. Recontextualization it as a fluid distribution between both projects. The split between the two is still fluid, essentially confirming some of what's mentioned above. Developers are actively getting thrown between both projects at random, unplanned intervals.
So does that sound feature complete to you guys? They're still swapping major teams back and forth between the two projects. Does that sound feature complete to you? Does that sound like it's just polishing? Because that doesn't sound like polishing to me.
Last year at CitizenCon, Chris said Squadron 42 is feature complete, and they moved a lot of developers back from Squadron 42 to the PU. And now it looks like not really. This is actually what I and many other people have already thought. CRG does not yet have a solid plan for 1.0 despite all of production figuring it out for 7 months. Meaning the early leaked roadmap described by the senior game director, Chris and I have overseen the creation of a roadmap that takes us all the way up to 1.0, has not solidified and has likely changed.
And this is a problem. This is a big problem. You have to put a plan down, and you have to achieve those goals within that plan. Otherwise, you start getting sidetracked and things never get done.
CIT is talking about 1.0 quite often recently.
Dungeon, what's up,
this
man?
Sounds like whistling in the dark. I don't think there's any hope for a decent 1.0.
When are we going to get another dank or jank?
And even 5 years from now is really stretching it.
Like
I hope that CIT will not release a half-baked, buggy, laggy 1.0.
Chase, I
the
get
whole
it.
industry will make fun of CIT. This will be worse than Redfall. Please, Chris, don't do this. Do not release a terrible 1.0. We want Star Citizen to become a fantastic and fun game. And don't get me started to talk about a roadmap. We had a roadmap before in Star Citizen, but CIT removed this February 2022 and called us Roadmap Watcher. Now we only have a release view for the very next patch, and we have progress tracker that does
Soon.
not track
Awesome.
any progress. There were items on previous
If you guys are fans of tabletop gaming, miniatures, tabletop RPGs, Magic the Gathering,
doing, step bro?
or any of that stuff, make sure you go and visit Mr. Dungeon. He does a lot of really cool stuff. I've actually late night at work on my lunch, I've been watching a lot of his miniature stuff, going back and rewatching a lot of his miniature stuff. It's something that I'm going to be getting back into here now that kids are going back to school, and I should hopefully have a little bit more time during the day when I have days off. And yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do. And then I'll share my progress with you as I go. So yeah.
roadmaps that are still not in the game.
Oh, nice,
For
Chase.
example, hacking tier 0.
I didn't get nerds fixed. I'm sorry, Jim.
13. Or dynamic door and ramp alignment, very important because terrain is not flat, was on a 3.16 roadmap
I'll get it fixed,
for
Jim.
December
I'm fired.
2021. And they vanished into the void like many other items that were on previous
Commerl's
roadmaps.
German, by the
Squadron
way,
42 is
Dungeon.
not content complete yet. Squadron is now hurtling towards content complete.
See, this is what bothers me a lot right here. They said last year it was content.
Fired!
This, yes, I am fired. We heard last year, almost last year, a month and a half. No, where are we? We're in about to hit August. So 3 months. In 3 months, it'll have been a year, and we heard it was content complete. And here we are.
That's content complete.
As you may have guessed, and Brian Chambers
Awesome
may
Dungeon.
have
I'm glad.
let slip a bit earlier, we are feature complete on Squadron 42.
Now, I was told there's a difference between feature complete and content complete, whatever it might be.
I thought they were content complete years ago. I don't remember the date and the time and all of that stuff, but somebody said they had played through the entire Squadron 42 game. What happened?
But at any rate, Squadron 42 is still not content complete, but it's hurtling towards it. So take this as whatever you think about it. Due to fluid development, it is nearly impossible to show a schedule like the progress tracker, describing teams as needing to be way more nimble than they were in the past, likely confirming issues with staffing and attrition as mentioned above. Why not just pull the plug and remove the progress tracker? Because it does not track progress. All you can see in the progress tracker is someone was working on something for a certain amount of time. You cannot see how far along the project is. You cannot see how close it is to be finished. So why have a progress tracker? And don't call it a roadmap if we only have a release view for the very next patch. Maybe just remove this.
I can't wait for this documentary, guys. It's only like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Thank you very much for Hater115 giving us this insight. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
As Wiedersehen. So that was Kamerl. Once again, go show him some love. I know that was the second video in a row that we did. But yeah, I really like the way he breaks down this stuff. I really enjoy it. So make sure you guys send him a little love. before we move on to the documentary, I want to talk about a couple of things. I
Good evening,
got hyped.
ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, SitCon meant a lot, as Fungus, I think it was Fungus, said. That last SitCon meant a lot to a lot of people, and that the announcement at the end about Squadron being feature complete really got a lot of people's hopes up and thinking that this game, or that game technically, was going to be coming out soon, and that a lot of features from that game were going to start being brought over to the PU and Star Citizen, and things were going to finally start moving forward. Since it seems, now I haven't been here that long, so other people tell me if my opinion is slightly wrong, because this is my opinion. In the 2.5 years I've been playing now, it seems like everything has been stuck in the mud. Nothing is moving forward. Yes, we got PES. Yes, we got salvage. But what else did we get? Okay, now we're into 2024. We just finished SitCon, right? Now let's go back in time a little bit. We just finished SitCon. We're going into 2024. We have these high hopes. The first patch of the year is going to be coming soon, and we're going to get this, and we're going to get that, and all of this stuff is coming. And then January goes by, February goes by, and we had nothing at the beginning of the year, right? We went from, I want to say, end of November, beginning of December with nothing, right? We get into March. We finally get 3.23, and it's gutted, right? All of this stuff that we were supposed to get, and it was going to be the biggest patch ever, it all got gutted out. You guys remember this? It all got gutted out. No more persistent hangars, no more cargo missions, etc., etc. Here we are, going into August in just a few short days. In what? 3 days. It's going to be August 1st. It's literally been 10 months since SitCon happened, and we got what? Master modes, which I'll call that a port. The first actual port we got from Squadron 42. What did we really get? We got Star Hair, and it's not even all the hair. We got Star Character Creator, and once again, it's only 16 for the males. It's only 16 of the 32 or 60 something heads. So tier 0. We got Vulcan, but it's tier 0 because it doesn't even have multi-threading. We got Star Map. Oh yeah, Star Map. I forgot. Star Map. Star Map was the thing, right? Star Map was the thing. But what was it? It was putting lipstick on a pig. It looked great. It looks cool. The best thing in it is that it has a search function, but did it fix anything? You still have all the same issues and the same bugs and the same glitches as you do with the old map. So did it fix anything? No. It's just lipstick on a pig. That's all it is. That's all it is. What else did we get? We got the mini map. Did anybody, if you've played this game long enough, you really need a mini map? And then one thing I used to tell people is if you just read the damn signs, if you just read the signs, you know where to go. Did we need the mini map? Maybe, but you know, we didn't need it. What did we get? Distro centers. Ooh, really big bunkers to do really big bunker missions in, but there's no rating. There's no, as far as I know, no cargo delivery, no cargo pickups from there yet, because we need the cargo missions. Oh yeah, we got Pie Piss, the effing F, which, like, at first I was like, oh, I like that. It looks cool. That looks really great. That looks awesome. Ooh. And then I tried using it. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's freaking terrible. And then, oh, what else did we get? Oh, we got the new inventory. That doesn't fucking work. Yeah, the Tarkov inventory ripoff, that doesn't work. I was one of those people that was like, oh, it's going to be great. It'll be fine. It'll be awesome. Blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. But you can't split items into it. It's very hard to manipulate. And I usually just end up going back to the old inventory system because the new one is shit. It's shit. And has anybody ever actually reloaded out of their backpack yet? Because I see no need for it, but have you guys done it? Does it work? I don't know. I've never done it. So, you know, yes, you're exactly right. Can-Up caves are one of 3 layouts. Bunker missions are one of, if you do a regular bunker missions, it's one of 2 layouts. If you do the drug ones, it's one of 2 layouts. So do you get 4 or do we count those as 2 and 2? The distro centers are I think they're roughly all the same, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I you know, correct me if I am, but I think they're all pretty much the same in how they're laid out, the interiors of them anyways. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want nothing to do with those distro centers. So yeah, that's what we've gotten in 2023. And as I said, when 3.23 came out, any other game with this many quality of life updates would have just been a weekend patch, and people would have been like, oh, look what they did. They did these cool things, and then that cool thing, and then, yeah, that was great. That, you know, high five. What an awesome Saturday patch. That was cool. Meh. I don't know. I'm less than satisfied with CIG this year. Like way less than satisfied. So here we go. This is going to be a longer one. Longer than what we usually do here. Oh, no, it's not. It's not that bad. So this is by Gameology, and it is a kind of a documentary. Now, with all things on the internet that people make a video out of, I know some of this is true. Some of this may not be, so make sure you go and try to dig up the receipts for some of this stuff, okay? I'm just letting you know. Oh, yeah, old Port Olisar. I miss PO, man. I really miss PO. I miss Port Olisar so bad. So bad. But, yeah, here we go. We're going to do this one. Gameology. What went wrong with Star Citizen?
Supported investors into funding legitimate German art films. Like,
wow, I did watch part of this, and I was like, I got to share this with the guys. So this is by Gameology. What went wrong with Star Citizen? It's a documentary type thing, and please, by all means, get active in the chat. Put in your opinions, put in your thoughts and ideas. I really want to see what you guys have to say about this.
Star Citizen. It thrives on self-promotion, so much so that it's generated over $700 million for its
almost
continued
800
development. Development that has been going on since the year 2012. Development that has delivered this.
Think about this for a second. Development since 2012. We've had 3 US presidents, 2 Unreal game engines, and the big 3, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, have all had 2 consoles come out since 2012. Just think about that for a second. Really, really think about that for a second. 3 US presidents, 2 Unreal game engines, and each one of the big 3s have come out with 2 consoles since then. Oh, and we've had 36 iPhones since then as well. Yeah, 36. Yes, and now we have generative AI. We've also gone through, if I'm not mistaken, when this came out, we were in the 900 series of NVIDIA cards. Then we went to the 1000s, the 2000s, the 3000s, the 4000s, and now we're about to hit 5000s. So go figure.
Back in the year 2012, Chris Roberts pitched Star Citizen as the ultimate space simulation game. It spans dozens of genres with a universe of features, an A-list cast, and the genius of gaming.
In 2012, by the way, I was not online. For those of you that were wondering why I wasn't online yesterday, when I said I was going to be, I forgot it was my anniversary last night, and I was hanging out with my wife and kids. So, yeah. So, I got married in 2012. I have been married for 12 years. I have 4 kids. And I've moved from one state to another, clear across the US, clear across. So, yeah. Yeah. I want you to think of that. I was never in there to begin with. Honestly, she remembered while she was at work, and she got like cupcakes and stuff. And I didn't remember. You know, some people, it was JT. JT was like, you know, to be fair, you probably think like a guy. You either think day off or I got to go to work. And that's kind of how I operate. Is it my day off? What does the calendar say? I got to take this kid to the dentist or that kid to the eye doctor, or I got to mow the lawn on my day off. That's all I'm really thinking about. And I that is a my bad thing. But as soon as she came home, it clicked and I went, oh, crap. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Dungeon. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys. And yes, I was not really in the doghouse, but I did what I did. Also, we're going to get into it after this, but I watched a movie over the weekend too. A new movie that is in theaters right now. I'm very excited, and I want to share that with you as well.
Its brightest developer. But now, it's 12 years later, and the project has become
We're going to do
so
a little live
unwieldy
review of
in
that
its
movie.
scope and so lacking in its execution that players have started treating the game's never-ending development cycle as a joke. Digging into the horrendously overinflated development and the iconoclastic creator at its center has revealed accusations of mismanagement, fraud, and even attempted murder.
Woo.
What went wrong with Star Citizen?
Get your safety pillows,
to unravel the
boys.
Star Citizen debacle, you first need to understand its creator, Chris Roberts. At the age of 13, he sold his first game, King Kong, for the BBC Micro. And
wasn't the BBC Micro... No, it was the BBC previous to that had Elite Dangerous, the original Elite Dangerous, right? And then that went over to like Commodore 64 and a few other computers, if I'm not mistaken.
Before he hit 20, he had his first bona fide hit, Wizador. He gained a reputation for being a wunderkind, and so he was hired to work with the Origin Systems in Austin, where he worked on games like Ultima V and Times of Lore.
I played Times of Lore.
But his first true mega hit came in 1990 when he directed Wing Commander. Before Wing Commander, spaceflight sims looked like this.
Hey, you do not make fun of this game. I love this game. Now. All right. I played, now hold on, let me make sure. I'm going to be looking at my phone for a second. I'm not ignoring you guys. I want to make sure I have my dates right. So. When did this come out? Okay. So I played Wing Commander when it 2 or 3 years after it originally came out. Now, I played it, I beat it, I had a good time with it. Once Star Wars X-Wing came out, nope. No more Wing Commander for me. It was all about X-Wing. Now, that's not to say I didn't buy, well, I had my parents buy it, and use some of my birthday money from time to time. That's not saying I didn't buy Wing Commander 2 and 3, because I did, and I played them. But if say I was in the middle of playing Wing Commander, whatever, and TIE Fighter came out, guess what? Guess what was going in my PC? TIE Fighter. When X-Wing versus TIE Fighter came out and I was still playing, I think it was Wing Commander 4 plus other, you know, flight sim games like Aces of Pacific, Aces over Europe, Jane's Modern Aircraft, or whatever it was called, Apache AHD, or what is it? AHD 63 or whatever, F-16 Falcon. As soon as Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter came out, guess what I did? I started playing X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. So I have a soft spot for Star Wars titles. I still have a soft spot for Star Wars titles, even though for the last 15 years, it's been pretty bad for Star Wars titles. The two that shine the most are probably the two Jedi games that just came out, but even those are meh.
But Wing Commander was more like Star Wars. It had gorgeous graphics, cinematic music, tight flying mechanics.
If I remember correctly, you had to have that 256 Super VGA, otherwise you couldn't play this game.
And branch missions. It was so revolutionary that it scored 6 stars out of 5
Wing Commander
from
2
Dragon,
was really
the official
good
magazine for Dungeons and Dragons. Truly the greatest honor anyone can bestow. The series went on to generate over $110 million in the early 90s. Over a quarter of $1 billion today. His next game, Strike Commander, pushed the technology even further.
I think I would have to dig. I think I still have this game in my old PC games box. Like, I still have a lot of old PC games that are on 5.5-inch floppies or 5.25-inch floppies, and 3.5-inch floppies as well. I think I have this game. And if I don't, I have the box.
It utilized higher fidelity graphics and audio, including fully voiced characters. Roberts was bent on incorporating the most cutting-edge technology into his games. An ambition that would ultimately lead to the situation we find ourselves in today. Roberts directed the live-action segments of Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, which featured sci-fi mainstays like Mark Hamill.
This game was a lot of fun. Do you guys remember Star Wars Rogue Squadron? And they had this type of, you know, cinematics in it, and then you like played your character in the cinematic, like you know, you'd be up against the wall, you'd push like D and like roll off the wall and shoot, and all you were really doing was moving the mouse around to shoot, and then let go of D to roll back on the wall again. I don't know if you guys remember that game. I love that. I tried to love that game. I beat it, but it was a long game.
Hamill and Malcolm McDowell. They may look goofy now, but this was an incredible leap in tech at the time. And the game's success convinced Roberts he was destined for more. Strangled by the corporate structure imposed after Origin was acquired by Behemoth Electronic Arts, Roberts left Origin in 1996 to form Digital Anvil with his brother Aaron. And
so Origin, you're gonna even the most hardcore Star Citizen fans should take notice of these video game company names and start placing them within Star Citizen. What did he say? Origin Systems. Now we're on Digital Anvil.
Filmmaker Robert Rodriguez, director of hits like From Dusk Till Dawn,
great movie,
and the greatest movie of all time, Spy Kids. Digital Anvil promised to be the link between movies and gaming with a smaller, more agile team. Digital Anvil cemented a publishing deal with Microsoft, and Roberts finally had the freedom to do more Wing Commander. He was the first game director ever to make the jump to Hollywood, and few others have done it since, perhaps for good reason. When Roberts directed the 1999 big screen adaptation of Wing Commander...
Okay. Before he gets into it, I was so excited when this movie got announced, and so was my other buddy that was super big into video games with me. We were like PC nerds, and yeah, we were like, oh yeah, Wing Commander, whoa, this is gonna be awesome. Yes, we went and got tickets and saw this opening night. Yeah. Well, even a 18-year-old me knew what I was watching. And you guys over there in Chatville know exactly what I'm talking about. Wow. That's all I could say was wow.
Starring then-hot Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard, it was an unmitigated disaster,
Yeah.
earning just $11.6 million on its $25 million budget.
And to be honest with you, do you want to know why? Okay, so for us, it was a double dipper. Because if I remember correctly, and I think he says it here too, if you wanted to see first glimpse of Star Wars Episode 1 that came out later that year in 1999, you had to go see this movie. And this movie had the trailer run before it. And that's how I was one of the first people to see the trailer for Phantom Menace in 1999. And I remember it being in the newspaper, it's saying that if you bought tickets to this, you would not get refunded if you walked out of the theater just to see the trailer for Star Wars.
Prinze Jr. reminisced.
Exactly, Jim.
I can't watch one scene of that movie.
I can't watch
It's the
one scene
simplest
of it
story in
either,
the
dude.
world. I read the script and loved it.
I can't do
We
it.
went on location
can't
and they
do
said, here's the new script. It was a piece of shit. The
a
movie
piece
was
of
Robert's
shit.
first real defeat, and it seemed to warp his perspective. He blamed the movie's failure on its rushed schedule. It had to be out in 6 months instead of 12, so it wouldn't compete with Star Wars Episode 1.
The 90s was a bad time for movies. I vehemently disagree with you, Jim. Vehemently disagree with you. We had such wonders as, if I'm not mistaken, The Fifth Element, that might have been 2000s. We had True Lies, Terminator 2. We had, let's see, what else came out back then? We had, trying to rack my, we had Tombstone in 1996. We had Die Hard 1 and 2, I believe. If not, then it was 2 and 3. We had, what else did we have? We had Robot Jocks. Come on. No, Terminator 2 was 1994. We had, yes, Hacker, Johnny Mnemonic. We had Lawnmower Man. We had Twister. We had Jurassic Park. We had Saving Private Ryan. Let's see, what else came out in the 90s? There was Waterworld. Oh, yeah. There was Fern Gully. Come on, man. Come on. Dragonheart. Oh, yes. Dragonheart. I watched that movie so many damn times. So many times. Oh, it was 1991 for 12 Monkeys. Thank you, God. Yes. 1991 was Terminator 1 or 2. Galaxy Quest was 90s? I thought that was 2000s. I thought that was early 2000s, but you could be right. You could be right. You know, we had Land Before Time. We had I could go on, man. I could go on. I thought the 90s had some of the best movies. We had League of Their Own. Come on, dude. We had Forrest Gump, Apollo 13. Damn, bro. So many good movies. So many good movies. Terminator 2 was 1991. Was it really 1991? Damn. I thought it was 93 or 94. Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting was 90. Dumb and Dumber. Ooh. Dave, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. Didn't we have we had Ace Ventura. Okay, I don't know. I thought the 90s were excellent. Don't get me wrong, the 80s had some excellent movies too. They had some very excellent movies in the 80s as well. But yeah. Anyways, we're getting way off track here. Wing Commander movie sucked.
Ironically, The Phantom Menace helped boost Wing Commander's box office by attaching its trailer to the movie, with the warning that no refunds would be issued to those who came just for a glimpse of pod racing and naked C-3PO. Roberts lucked into an inflated revenue with a failed project. From then on,
Shawshank, yes,
he would
thank
learn
you.
to engineer his own life. Microsoft bought out Digital Anvil outright in 2000.
Demolition Man, thank you. Matrix, yes. Bicentennial Man, yeah. Oh man, there's so many good movies. So many good movies. I was just talking about Demolition Man the other day. That was a good movie. Speed came out. Point Break. Damn. What was that movie? Stand By Me. What was the vampire movie with Kiefer Sutherland? The Lost Boys, Hook. Goddamn, I need to stop. Let's watch the documentary.
2003, and Roberts left to form Ascendant Pictures. It was here, at a brand new production company, that a Roberts-run company found a way into a lot of money in questionable ways.
That's right.
Ascendant used a loophole in German tax law to finance several bad movies and arguably one or two pretty good ones. Behind the scenes, the fund's manager, Andreas Schmidt.
So this is where it's going to start getting dark, boys. Lost Boys was 80s? No way. Hunt for Red October was fantastic film. So was what was the other? Was it Widowmaker? Widowmaker was another one. K-19 Widowmaker, I think, was also. Under Siege. Under Siege was really, Seagal's kind of a laughingstock now, but yeah, but this is where it's going to start getting dark. So I'm gonna back it up. Guys, if you want to talk movies, join the Discord, get in the Gen chat, and we'll talk movies all night long.
Ways. Ascendant used a loophole in German tax law to finance several bad movies and arguably one or two pretty good ones. Behind the scenes, the fund's manager, Andreas Schmidt, courted investors into funding legitimate German art films like Who's Your Caddy and Lucky Number 11. But 80% of their money sat in bank accounts to secure loans and accrue interest. So investors couldn't actually write it off on their taxes.
Ouch.
Schmidt went to jail for fraud, while Roberts walked away scot-free. Once again, Chris Roberts was set adrift in space. But when he was at his lowest, he could embark on his most ambitious project yet, Star Citizen, the ultimate iteration of his childhood dream.
So the
Crimson
idea
Tide,
of it is
you
you serve a campaign, you fly missions, it's branching just like Wing Commander was, and you have exactly that Wing Commander experience with the added bonus of some multiplayer and your friends be able to sort of co-op play with you as wingmen when you fly your missions. But when you finish your tour of duty, you muster out and you're in the wide universe, and then it's open world. You can go where you want, do what you want, choose who you want to be.
Roberts teamed up with Ortwin Freyermuth from Ascendant, as well as marketing manager Sandy Gardner to form cloudimperiumgames.
We'll talk movies.
AAA game budgets are absurdly high. In 2024, the average costs between $100 and $150 million to develop. Star Citizen's website has a counter that just passed the $700 million mark. A truly sickening number. It's over 3 times the budget of Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the most expensive, polished games ever, and it grows higher every day, with very little to show for it. Part of the reason is that
Here's one thing I will argue, though. Red Dead Redemption is using older, I'm not going to say assets, but it's using an older game engine that is a tried and true engine. It's not being spaghettified like the CryEngine engine is going to be. And I've said that a million times, Jim. And do you know how many times people have come after me on YouTube saying I'm wrong and I'm delusional and all of that other stuff, and they don't want to hear it, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But Star Citizen was the original pitch, and Squadron 42 was going to be like the online campaign part before you played the game. So I don't know, but and then my other argument is that Red Dead Redemption was a single player game and not a multiplayer game like Star Citizen is. Now, Red Dead Redemption does have a multiplayer version, and it was really good when it wasn't very good when they started it in the beta, and then once they released it, it was really well done. And the sky was the limit for it, but they didn't really pay it the kind of attention that needed to be paid attention to it, because they were so focused on Grand Theft Auto 5, because that's making them, I think it's like close to $100 million a year in microtransactions, and Red Dead Redemption was an eighth of that or a quarter of that. It wasn't nearly as big. So that game got quickly abandoned within 2 years or maybe 3 years. So it's unfortunate for Red Dead Online, but the single player game is still absolutely amazing. And it's still, and if you guys want, I'll stream it. I got it when it was on sale on Steam. It's still one of the most gorgeous games available, and it's a 5-year-old, 6-year-old game now. It's incredible.
Star Citizen is crowdfunded. Literally, it ran on Kickstarter, raised over $6 million, and then proceeded to raise over 100 times that amount over the next 12 years by selling the idea of the game and letting users play modules of an undercooked alpha. Star Citizen was advertised as the be-all and end-all of spacefaring games. It has dogfights, trading, base building, and AAA shooting mechanics. An interconnected, persistent...
The AAA shooting mechanics feel more like a AA, and that's my opinion. I feel that when the and it's mostly server related. There's nothing, in my opinion, I haven't played recently, so I don't know what changes. I know they made changes to the recoil and the way the sights work and blah, blah, blah. But previous to that, when the servers worked well, it felt fine as an FPS. It still wasn't near as good as some of the other ones as far as fluidity and how the guns hit, et cetera, but it was good. It was good enough in a game like this. Them trying to push it as like a triple A, contender. The FPS in this will never be a triple A contender. Just go play Star Marine. You'll find out really quick. You'll see it really quick how there is a big difference between Star Citizen and, I hate to say it, but a Call of Duty. We'll put them up there at the top, or an Apex or a Valorant. But I like games that are a little bit more realistic. So games like Ready or Not, Tarkov, DayZ to a point, but that's what I like. And I'm not saying you guys do, but yeah.
Universe. Official company communications come from
FPS
robertsspaceindustries,
is more of a double A.
ARG that blends the line between real and in-game truth.
Yeah, Backspaced. I
the
feel
crux of Robert's problems
that's
lies
what I
in
feel.
his insistence
Yeah,
on
exactly.
constantly adding features without delivering on the ones that were promised.
Oh yeah, I forgot
New
we got
features
water
are introduced, and
3.23.
old ones are left to linger without being fleshed out. Due to its funding structure, the game has to rely on constantly promising bigger and better features.
Now, this is a trust exercise.
Only about half the budget goes to actual game development, whereas about 25% goes to advertising and promotions, mostly run by Sandy Gardner. And since Star Citizen does not have a traditional publisher to lock in a vision, rein in overspending, and step in when developers bite off more than they can chew,
and tons of nepotism, and if it's not nepotism, I don't know the actual name for it. When you're hiring your friends, maybe it does fall under nepotism. So once again, if everybody out in Star Citizen land doesn't know this already, the three main controllers of the board are Chris Roberts, Aaron Roberts, Sandy Roberts, and then three of their very, very good, close personal family friends all sit on that board. They're the ones that are making that decision from the boardroom down. They used to have a seventh one, and Mason, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure I've told you this before. They had a South African investor that put up a lot of money, and they gave him a spot on the board. I don't know what happened. I don't have the details, so please don't ask me. But he was either kicked off, removed, or he himself stepped down, but he is no longer there as a board member. At least that's what was told to me a couple of years ago. So we'll see how this all turns out.
Cloud Imperium
so
has resorted to some morally gray tactics to raise funds.
Gentlemen, before you leave, can I just say something?
They regularly announce in-game ships that cost real-world money. The Orion, for example, was announced in 2015 and cost $625. 9 years later, there's still no word on a release. Other ships cost over $3,000 each. They're NFTs with even less functionality. Some players have sunk well over $40,000 into this game with the hopes of actually being able...
I know players that have sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into this game. So, yeah.
to play a completed version. Even as recently as last month, Cloud Imperium introduced...
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the last time I looked it up on eBay, the Raven that was sold with that Intel, I think it was GPU, CPU, no, Intel CPU, that Raven, I think, sells for somewhere between $500 and $600 on the gray market, but it's been a long time since I looked.
Produced and sold ship futures for hundreds of dollars that won't be available in-game for years, if ever.
Wow.
Of the $700 million budget, most has come from selling these war bonds, and another $63 million from private equity. By 2018, 10% of Cloud Imperium's operating budget came from billionaire father and son duo Clive and Keith Calder. The vision expanded as the money kept pouring in, and stretch goals like ships, bases, and alien races were marketing but never developed. Promised physical rewards, like a hardcover book and a spaceship-shaped USB stick, were never followed through on. Roberts does occasionally address updates with his Letters from the Chairman series of blog posts, but there's not nearly enough clarity to satisfy those who have poured vast sums of money into his pockets. They even host a yearly in-person CitizenCon, meant to show off new features and share development progress. The sold-out two-day convention costs a minimum of $250 to attend and has a premium tier package for those who want a goodie bag, with contents to be later announced. Rest assured, you don't have to attend the show to spend the $250, as digital goodies are still available for full ticket price. Meanwhile, CitizenCon has a volunteer staff of true believers ready to jump at the chance to see their favorite developers and the newest marketing materials for themselves. You can even pay over $2,500 to meet the devs. In a Penny Arcade report by Ben Kuchera after the Wing Commander movie bombed, Robert said he wished someone had sat him down,
I remember,
forced him to pick 4 or 5 things that it was important.
I don't remember, but I've seen the video. I've seen the video. So, hey, everybody, make sure you go visit Canop. And he hasn't been streaming a lot lately, but, you know, go bump his numbers up. Give him some subs or excuse me, some follows over there on the Twitch. Yeah, I've seen the videos. I've gone back. We're going to go off on a little tangent here. Because I became such a fan of Star Citizen, and because I started doing YouTube, people started asking me questions I couldn't answer and things about the past and trying to say, like, Wiser here, do you remember this? I went back and I've done my research, so to speak, and I've watched sitcoms and games cons, and it's pretty eye-opening when you see some of the stuff that was being discussed in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and so on, up until now. And when you watch it in order, or if you watch the first couple and then watch the most recent CitizenCon, it is mind-blowing how much money is spent on these events from then till now. And it's also mind-blowing the amount of promises or we'll get it out this year that we've gone through as a community. And I really don't I really don't see it changing anytime soon from year to year that any of this is going to change. And it's sad because there's so many people that believe that this is going to be a thing. And I'm starting to slowly slide away from that and think that it's not going to be a thing. So, time is the factor in all of this. We'll see what happens. I don't want to be too overly negative, but at the same time, I don't want to be positive, like even remotely positive, because why? Just why?
To do well and focus on those. Instead, he tried to do too much and didn't have the budget nor time to do any of it particularly well. And now, with Star Citizen's unlimited time and budget, Roberts is making all of those same mistakes again to the highest magnitude. The Kickstarter set Star Citizen's initial launch window somewhere in 2015, and 5+ years of development for a new IP is fairly common for AAA games. Instead, the first pre-alpha released in 2013 was the
once again, another tangent, and backspace. Please take what I'm about to say as rumor. The rumor I have been hearing through several sources is that one of the reasons why there's such a push for 4.0 and 1.0 to happen within the next calendar year is because some of those private investors that they talked about earlier in this video have basically said, if something doesn't happen, we're pulling our money. And the way it was explained to me is they invested 63 million, but when they pull that money, they're going to get more than 63 million out of CIG. And CIG, when they get, for example, when IAE happens and $40 million comes in because people have bought ships, that $40 million is gone. It has to pay the bills. It has to pay the server costs. It has to pay the bankroll or the payroll, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If that's true and those investors pull, let's say we go a full year to the next SitCon and nothing changes. We don't get a 4.0. We don't get a 1.0. We're not even halfway to getting any of those, or a 4.0 comes out and it's an unmitigated disaster and they pull their funding. That's it. Star Citizen's done. Like it's over, because they won't be able to pay all that money back and still keep developers on the payroll, and there are multiple studios opened and everything else. So it'll be, that's it. It'll be over. Yeah. And the yacht, and let's not forget all that expensive alcohol they show us on the set that they have all the time.
hangar module, where a player could look at their ship. That's it.
Woohoo.
No flying, shooting, story, or robust single-player campaign. Just a ship in a hangar. Barely a proof of concept. Over the years, some large gameplay loops have been introduced piece by piece. While others languish in development hell, the game has evolved from that single hangar module to include first-person shooter, Star Marine, and Arena Commander, an in-game meta simulator where users can pilot different ships and several different star systems. Other systems have popped up in various stages of completeness, with the promise of more to come soon. But there's very little connective tissue to bring everything together, and it's worlds away from the everything space sim that was sold directly to consumers. Former Cloud Imperium employees have cited Robert's micromanagement, reversing approvals, and borderline obsession with details as reasons for leaving. And gamers are right to expect the game to be finished at some point. Besides the unlimited open world game.
Here's the thing, and it's I forget the name of it, of the term I was about to use, but here's the thing. The game technically will never be finished. Will it be released? You know, if all things happen the way that are supposed to happen and time treats this game well, the game will eventually be released, but it will never be finished because they'll be constantly adding things. And as far as a release date is concerned, you know, some people say it's going to have 2 systems at release. It's going to have 5 systems at release, but you know, they're going to add more. They're going to add more content. They're going to add more things. And obviously they're going to add more things to the pledge store. Because if you think that's going to go away after release, you're insane. You're bonkers insane. But they'll add more. Let's say everything is great. They'll add more stuff. It'll never be finished. Like Call of Duty every year is released, but the game isn't finished until the next one comes out. Then, and even then, it's still not finished. 2 more years, 3 more years, and then it goes away, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's Mason. Yeah, you're pretty much right.
Game Star Citizen was marketed as having a massive cinematic standalone campaign.
Yeah, Pyro DLC
Squadron
for
42.
$99.99.
It sports a cast that would make any Hollywood movie blush, including Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Gary Oldman. Performance capture was done at the Imaginarium, a multi-million-dollar studio in the UK run by actor and director Andy Serkis. Actors had to be flown to the soundstage, possibly for a month or more, and paid movie star rates. But Squadron 42 has also stalled. with only some periodic updates on its development. It's apparently campaign locked, but most are taking that announcement with a planet-sized grain of salt.
Do I think it's sustainable to rely on shipped sales post-release? Yes. So I think two things are going to happen after the game releases. I think that at this point, most of the hardcore backers may have stepped away. Well, actually, I'm not going to go down that road. I think two things are going to happen when the game releases. Number one, the ship sales will stay in the pledge store. And two, I think that if you want to continue to play this game, it will be a monthly subscription. So $14.99, $19.99, $29.99. It's going to cost you something to play this game. And yes, Pagan is absolutely right. It was initially supposed to be 5 games. They cut it down to 3. So there's supposed to be a Squadron 41 or Squadron 42, a 42 Part 2, and a 42 Part 3. And if they get this game out and it sells semi-decent outside of the Star Citizen community, it won't stop. They'll get right on Squadron 42 Part 2, and we'll start seeing the same issues that we're having now in the PU as we move forward, because they're working on Squadron 42 Part 2. So yeah, you'll see it happen.
And while the game is in limbo for who knows how many more years, lots of other high-profile games have caught up to or surpassed Star Citizen. Perhaps most frustrating for players in Star Citizen is the progress wipe, where inventory, credits, and reputation are reset when a new feature or system is implemented. These can happen frequently and without warning. While they don't erase anything purchased with real money, they can dishearten someone who has put dozens of hours into playing the game. Unfortunately, the Star Citizen debacle has gone beyond the game's own torture development and has generated controversy after controversy, including lawsuits and allegations of harassment and attempted murder. We mentioned a while back that Sandy Gardner was one of the founding partners of Cloud Imperium and its head of marketing. Sandy is also Chris Roberts' wife, but she's also his former wife. Chris Roberts has had 2 non-consecutive marriages to the same woman. And it's been messy, to say the least. In 2007, while Chris Roberts was with his second wife, Madison Peterson, Gardner allegedly stalked Peterson and her daughter and broke into their house. On another occasion, Gardner tried to strangle Roberts. He said in a court declaration, "I believe that if she had a gun, she would have killed me." Eventually, a restraining order was issued, but dissolved after 3 months. And by 2009, Gardner and Roberts were remarried. Currently, Gardner and Roberts have a selective memory regarding the incidents. But not everyone is forgotten. Derek Smart is a game developer who created Battlecruiser 3000 AD, a space combat sim meant to rival the original Wing Commander series.
Yeah, look, man.
Most impressive.
I saw the most. Hey, you should be a little bit more responsible with your money there, Fungus. Well, I appreciate you. Seriously, I do. I just said that for a joke, but I really appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate it very much so.
Most impressive.
Marriages can be really messed up, which is why I'm lucky that I dated the woman that I'm with for so long before I decided to marry her. And I tell everybody that I spent so long with her that she became my best friend. Have we gotten into fights and arguments? Yes, we have. Have either of us laid hands on each other like that? No. And if somebody did lay hands on me, or I laid hands on her, I would expect them never to come back. So to me, that whole thing is just weird, that somebody's choking you out, and 3 months later, the restraining order is dissolved, and then however long after you're getting remarried, that's pretty messed up. That's pretty messed up. I think you'll get a subscription in form of insurance. I personally don't see ship sales being a feasible source of income. Time plus cost to constantly update ships would be insane. So here's the thing. You can once you get a asset base of everything you need to make, say, a new RSI ship or a new Crusader ship, the time and the cost is nothing. So what I would see them doing is saying, hey, this new Origin ship is coming out, for example, and this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to have it now. Let's say this is the game is released. Things are moving smoothly. Things have been added in. So let's say that we're a year into it being released, and they say, hey, this new Origin ship's coming out. Here's the concept. This is what it's going to be. It's going to have X, Y, and Z. Here you go. It's in concept. Now, what I will see them doing is saying it's going to be on sale from this month to this month, and that's it. And whoever buys it within that month or 2 months or whatever they give in that time frame, then you get to be the first ones to fly it. So when we release it, let's say it's a bigger ship and it takes 6 months because they have the assets and everything, right? You will get that ship, and for the next 6 months until the next quarterly or bi-quarterly patch drops and it goes into the standard stores within the game, the only people flying them will be the ones that buy them. And I guarantee you they'll still do it. Now, as far as ship insurance goes, the thing that worries me is what kind of ship insurance are they going to sell, especially since 99% of all people I know that buy ships on the pledge store all have LTIs. What insurance are you going to sell them? Are you going to have component insurance? Are you going to have weapon insurance? Because the hull itself is going to be covered under an LTI. Now, we still don't know what it's all going to entail, but we do know that if you crash your ship, even with an LTI token, all your components and all your weapons are gone, and you get a default version of that ship back to you when you claim it. So are they going to do that? And then at which case, I'm sure they are going to do ship insurance on the pledge store that you can buy and keep running in the background. Yeah, exactly, Grizz. There's tons of ways that they can make money, and most of it's very cheap and very non-labor intensive.
It was a buggy, unstable mess on release, and came with a laundry list of its own controversies. Smart was among the first to remark on Star Citizen's lack of feasibility in its early stages. Despite backing the project himself, Smart was widely derided by Star Citizen's diehard fans, who labeled him a vicious hater and a hack working in bad faith. Smart has dedicated numerous blog posts, tweets, articles.
You know, that sounds familiar. You know, I watch guys like Commerl, Grumpy, Golgot, Salty to a degree, myself when I put out videos that are critical of Star Citizen. We get labeled as some of the most horrible human beings that have ever walked the earth. And while I will say that in general, the Star Citizen community is pretty good in welcoming in new players and helping out even veteran players, what I will say, though, is this all-inclusive community that is one of the best Star Citizen or one of the best gaming communities there ever is, that I don't believe anymore. I think for the most part, and I'm not saying you find people in here, because you find people have heads on your shoulders, right? Even if you defend Star Citizen, you still admit that there are big flaws within the game, right? There are people out there that don't. They refuse to, and it's a large majority of the Star Citizen community. So I will say this. There is a small group of Star Citizen people that are very nice. They are willing to debate you. They are willing to have conversations with you. They are willing to share their opinions with you and even correct you when you are wrong about something in the video game, right? And that's fine. But a large majority of the community, you are mentally deranged and you have some very serious personal problems that you need to fix. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that.
And podcast interviews to trashing the project's management and what he saw as an embezzlement scheme. But beware when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. Smart himself has been accused of mounting a sustained harassment campaign against Sandy Gardner, accusing her of academic fraud, lack of qualifications, and even appearing in adult movies. In one post, he showed pictures of her young daughter.
Guys, did you hear that? I'll debate a masturbator. Did you guys hear that?
Campaign against Sandy Gardner, accusing her of academic fraud, lack of qualifications, and even appearing in adult.
Goons have located footage from a horror porn movie Sandy Gardner, Star Citizen, made prior to Star Citizen. Stand by. Ooh, somebody, we got to find this. We got to find this for educational purposes.
Movies. In one post, he showed pictures of her young daughter.
That's terrible.
Smart maintains he was merely sounding the alarm about the mismanagement of funds and claims that he didn't dox anyone.
Sandy, you are an untalented, no degree having hack.
Chris Roberts addressed the controversy directly. I have to say,
apparently.
I'm incredibly disappointed in all of this. This sort of drama is not what I or you signed up for with Star Citizen. It is unfortunate that our open nature makes us a bigger target.
But they're really not that open.
We will do the best we can to refute such baseless accusations. But most importantly, stay tuned to see the actual work we're doing, which should put any questions to rest.
Has anybody seen any of their actual work?
Eventually, Smart threatened a class action lawsuit. But, like Star Citizen, nothing materialized. And Sandy took an extended break from social media in the wake of Smart's smear campaign. The legal troubles didn't stop at these very personal, very messy disputes. Because Squadron 42 is technically a separate game from Star Citizen, that became the basis of a legal battle between Cloud Imperium and Crytek, authors of the game's engine. Crytek alleged that their general license only covered a single game, but Cloud Imperium was using the engine for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. The court disagreed and dismissed the case in 2020. But by then, Cloud Imperium had developed Star Engine, a heavily modified version of Amazon's Lumberyard, which itself was a modified version of CryEngine. Gamers tired of Cloud Imperium's evolving timeline, progress.
That's really good. This is one of my favorite memes.
Tired of Cloud Imperium's.
This is one of my favorite memes of Star Citizen. By the end of this year, backers will have everything they originally pledged for, plus a lot more. Chris Roberts, Polygon, March 2015. Yeah. So there's a lot of bullshit going on in this game, and I should say in the game, but behind the scenes, and the people that are making it, there's a lot of shit going on.
Evolving timeline, progress wipes, and lack of transparency have requested refunds. But those can be difficult to obtain. And entire subreddits have popped up around the dissatisfaction with the process. As a last resort, users are pointed to gray markets, where they can trade in-game items to other players to recover some of their cash. This collective frustration has resulted in over 120 FTC complaints leveled against Cloud Imperium. That last figure was updated in 2019. Gameology has filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the Federal Trade Commission for an updated number, but hasn't heard back yet. Meanwhile, Cloud Imperium operates like it has.
They need to push it so then that way the feds take action, because you can't. I would have to reread the laws on the Freedom of Information. I used to be somewhat versed in the Freedom of Information Act laws because I thought it was one of the coolest things that were ever put out. So, yeah. Oh, you sent me an IMDb? Alrighty. I will definitely be sharing that in the Discord. I'm not going to do it on stream, though.
Has money to burn, growing 30% year over year.
But I think the feds have to force you to.
Cloud Imperium is not the tiny, agile team that Roberts had set out to lead. By 2024, its staff had ballooned to over 1,300.
And guys, they all get the $1,200 chairs to sit in. They all get the $1,200 chairs to sit in. You know, those, I forget the name of them. Herman Miller, I think they're called.
2 dozen
buffering. We better not be buffering. We better not be buffering. I'm checking. I'm checking right now. There better be no buffers. Let's see. I'm 30 seconds behind. It is buffering. Just let me... Oh, we're back. We're back. All right.
Partner studios.
Let me double check on my end. Let me double check on my end. I want to make sure we're good. Are we back?
Past
Yes, we are back.
and
Okay.
present. Now, Cloud Imperium's
it up a
official
little bit.
financial. They have offices in 5 cities and over 24 partner studios, past and present. Now, Cloud Imperium's official financials paint a picture of an active community with a player base of over 5 million. However, the number of concurrent or yearly players is harder to spot.
Yep.
Estimates
We were
put
talking about
average
this.
concurrent players at around 5,000 and about 1 million per year, which is not great. The whole project is held together with duct tape and belief.
Yes. Drake tape.
In a
Not duct tape,
2018
Drake tape.
VentureBeat interview, Chris Roberts said, "I don't think
Thank you,
anyone
guys.
that
I appreciate
crowdfunded the
ya.
game would be very happy if I was snapping pictures on the back of a yacht somewhere." Anyway, here's a picture of Chris Roberts on the back of a yacht. He also built a $4.7 million home in the Pacific Palisades in 2018 that recently sold for over $6 million. Now, that's not to say someone can't take a vacation or buy a home. After all, developers are humans with lives to lead. However, longtime supporters believe that the company...
I kind of feel like that's almost like using campaign money to buy yourself a house and a boat. I don't know. I don't think, I mean, yes, he's entitled to a paycheck and everything. He is, you know, making a game, but I don't know, guys. I feel that that's pretty morally wrong, in my opinion.
His public face should display more tact if he hasn't delivered the product they paid for with their hard-earned money. At worst, they see it as a grift. But something has to come together at some point.
I've read the case a couple of times.
Bug fixes and upgrades are arriving regularly, but
Are they?
large portions of gameplay, polish, and back-end technology are MIA. The 2023 CitizenCon promised new features that are still missing. Engineering, base building, and server meshing, the key technology that will supposedly bind everything together and allow more than 50 people to be on a single planet. But who knows how successful any of that will be?
This is all
4.0
a
has
pipe dream
no
right now.
release date.
All a pipe
Meanwhile, many high-profile games have eclipsed much of what Star Citizen set out to do. Elite Dangerous nailed the immersion and mechanics players wanted. A decade after its 2014 launch, it has just a few hundred fewer concurrent players than Star Citizen's alphas. Bethesda's Starfield has hundreds of procedural worlds, mining, and base building.
Okay, here's the thing though. The Star Citizen or the Starfield, I don't like the main mission for the most part. The side quests are really well done, but the main missions are kind of shit. I'm gonna be honest. The base building is okay. It's okay. The ship combat is shit. it's absolute shit. The graphics, I think very soon here we're going to start seeing the same problem with Star Engine as we see with Bethesda's creative, whatever the fuck they call it, Creative Engine 2.0, is they're pushing a 20-year-old engine to its absolute max. And for Starfield, the game looks like, when it came out on release date, it looked like the game was already 10 years old. You know, some people appreciate that aesthetic. I did not. But oh, I mean, they have base building, they have ship modularity, you can build your own ships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, yeah, and that's my feeling about Starfield. And it's, I don't know, it's okay. It's not a great game, it's just okay. And Elite Dangerous, I'm still trying to figure that game out. I need to get into engineering, and I want to do xenobiology, and I want to explore into the black and things like that. I just don't want to just do combat around planets and rings all the time. I want to do other things, but you know, I got to finish Nobody Wants to Die first before I do that. So yeah.
No Man's Sky adds free updates and has an engaged monthly player base of over 1 million.
Okay, I do like No Man's Sky. I hate flying in that game. It's mouse and keyboard only. It will not recognize my Xbox controller. It will not recognize my sticks. There is no native built-in stick and Xbox controller recognition. There is for the Steam controller, but not for the Xbox and the joysticks. And if you want to use the Xbox controller or the joysticks or a PlayStation 4 or 5 controller, you have to download one program for another program to emulate it, and then you can use it. And I'm not going down the Star Citizen path and downloading 18 different programs to get peripherals working in a game that should have it already working within the game. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it again. And I don't need 18 more programs on my computer just to run controls. I'm not doing it. I refuse to. It's like having a house being built and they keep upselling you a bunch of shit and the foundation isn't even laid out yet. Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly. That's very well put, Canop.
Cyberpunk has an extensive branching campaign and celebrities like Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba. Whatever reviews these games earned, they were more or less complete products, even if they did have to be overhauled after launch. If Star Citizen had been playable in 2015, it might have scaled to grow into the promised persistent living universe. But the vision is still growing and getting even further away.
Yep.
Chris Roberts fails to understand that Star Citizen can't be the be-all, end-all of space games because games always get replaced by the next big, even if they did have to be overhauled after launch. If Star Citizen had been playable in 2015, it might have scaled to grow into the promised persistent living universe. But the vision is still growing and getting even further away. Chris Roberts fails to understand that Star Citizen can't be the be-all, end.
Look. It's Chris Roberts playing on an Xbox controller.
All of space games because games always get replaced by the next big thing. Even runaway successes eventually get stale and replaced entirely. That's progress for you. But he has a $6 million house, and I don't. So maybe he's onto something. Maybe Chris Roberts is the James Cameron of video games. Cameron has an unflinching vision for a project, even developing the tech necessary to complete it.
It's a live service
Avatar:
game.
The Way of Water was delayed over 8 years from its original release date. And once it saw the light of day, it became the third highest grossing movie of all time and had near universal acclaim. But 5 million people didn't have to experience every new animation or failed render. Maybe Roberts is the worst kind of televangelist, selling an idea of heaven to those holding on for hope while separating them from their money, living a lavish lifestyle, and keeping the perpetual hype machine running to spread the gospel. And truthfully, watching him speak, he's not all that charismatic. How did he build such a cult around himself? Maybe he's just desperately in over his head and will be chained to this for the rest of his life. Star Citizen always sounded too good to be true. And here we are, 12 years and $700 million later.
800 now.
And it still is. If Star Citizen eventually comes out in a genuinely playable form,
right now.
It'll be cool for diehard fans and boring, alienating, and prohibitively expensive for everyone else. Even if it does come out, it's in danger of being a giant empty space.
Wow. Wow. That was, guys, that was really awesome and very well done. I enjoyed every moment of that. That was really well done. I need to go use the bathroom and grab myself another drink. So please discuss while I go use the washroom and grab a drink. And we are going to move on to some other things in the React realm for a little bit longer. What time is it? Yeah, we're gonna move on to some other React things for a little bit longer. Not too much longer, just a little bit longer. But yeah, I will be right back. I will be right back, guys. unmuted the wrong thing. We are back, and I was wrong. When I was getting my drink, I looked it up. It's like 720 something million, close to 730 million, I think now. But yeah. So I never played No Man's Sky before the update, but I do like the way the planets look and feel. Every planet that I've been to so far has a different feel to it, whether it's hot, cold, kind of temperate. There's a lot of different types of fauna and stuff like that. Now, I haven't been to more than, I think, 5 planets or 6 planets. So I'd like to see what other things exist out there. I really hate the flying. The flying really turns me off. I've been messing with my mouse settings and stuff like that to try to get it to where I like it, but I do not like the flying at all in No Man's Sky. That's the one thing that I wish I could change. Yeah, I'm not it's, and I don't take No Man's Sky seriously like I did Star Citizen or even Starfield for a little bit. I don't take it seriously, not because it's not a good game. I just, it's fun to go in there and mess around. It's fun. It is fun. It's enjoyable. It's relaxing. But yeah, I'd like to dig deeper into that, but first I want to dig deeper into I'd like to dig deeper into Elite a little bit more as well. But yeah, I do know that both of those games have their limitations, and I'm well aware of that. And I knew it going in. So yeah, we're gonna do one more Star Citizen thing, and I am doing this because I want you guys to see this particular video, because it's not like informational. It's not a documentary. It's not, hating on Star Citizen. I just want to share this person with you because I think he's been doing a really good job with what he's been producing. And yeah, that's really about it. So I'm going to show you guys this. As I said, it's going to probably be the last Star Citizen thing we do tonight. It's only 6 minutes long. Please, let's hear it for Buccaneer, I just killed that. Buccaneer Orion. He's part of Blackjack Bill's crew. Yeah. I might have to back this up a little bit. So I love his thumbnails first off. I really like them.
Auto drive is now off.
He's a pirate.
Contact.
He's chasing down an A2, or no, a C2 it looks like. He's using a VR head tracking, it looks like. Wait, where's he going? I thought he was chasing after that C2.
Auto drive is now on.
What's he doing? Ah, okay, so he is chasing after him.
Target's quantum drive is locked. Scanning ship manifest.
I really like how he added the
ship manifest
computer voice. What's he got? Laser cannons? Yeah, he's got the M cannons on there. Get him, Buck. Get him. That rear shield's coming down pretty quick with those M cannons. And is the door opening? I think the door is open. It actually doesn't take that long with the M cannons. See, rear shield is down. Oh, he's got more friends in the area. He's part of Blackjack Bill's crew. There's definitely more people in the server. Yeah, I don't get the lag pip either. Well, actually, I use lag pip on big ships like this. I use lead pip on fighters. I'm surprised Blackjack and them haven't shown up yet. All he got his door open. That was really close. That was really close. Ew, absolutely not, backspace. Absolutely not.
Enemy down.
Boom, there he is. So what's the game plan here? Where's the backup?
Hostile contact.
Oh, really? Oh, it's an NPC. An NPC and a mantis? And kaboom. Where's the backup?
Scans show hostiles on board.
I am not a fan of master modes at all. I truly dislike master modes. Which is funny because I don't mind the ship combat in Elite Dangerous. And yeah, you're right, Rakumo, it is ×2 speed. It's definitely ×2 speed. Wait a how is he?
Buck, do you need Shirensu to do your job for you? Sending our reinforcements.
That's funny. Shirensu is one of the guys on their crew.
Logistics are en route to our location.
So it looks like they got in there, got the guy while he was downed. There's Kaipod, aka Adam Warlock. He's a regular in here. So yeah, I just, like I said, I wanted to share Buck O'Ryan with you guys. I've been very impressed with a lot of his newer videos coming out over the last, I'd say, month or so. They all involve piracy, all of them. They all involve piracy. But I really like how he does his thumbs. I like how he's added the AI computer voice to kind of let you guys know what is going on and how he's going about it. yeah, I'm enjoying his videos. Like I said, I may not be enjoying Star Citizen myself, but I do like watching some of these videos. So yeah, like I said, show the man a little bit of love. If you could, please, I'd appreciate it. So here you guys go. And make sure you visit Marcus Wynn. I haven't seen him online as of late, but make sure you go and visit him. Please go and visit him. Alrighty, let's do something non-Star Citizen now. Non-Star Citizen. What was I gonna do? Everybody like Fallout, because I'm a big fan of Fallout. This is an older video, but I've been saving it for a while and I've wanted to watch it. Timothy Kane did Fallout 1 and 2, and then I think he was involved in 3 on some level. I'm not 100% sure what his involvement was on 3, but yeah. It's I'm a big fan of his work. I've played every Fallout except for New Vegas. I've played it, but not for long, and that's a me thing, not the game thing. So Timothy Kane, would he work on Fallout again? He uses DaVinci.
Hi everyone, it's me, Tim.
Or his editor does.
Today I want to answer the question, would I work on Fallout again? This, in the last few months, this question has overtaken my most frequently asked question, how do I get a job in the game industry? Which I have made a video with an answer and then a video about the answer. So I've done how to get a job in the game industry and then making a demo, which is the answer to that. So I want to answer, would I work on Fallout again? But you have to realize that the answer is complicated, but not because of what you think. First of all, there's a lot of different questions being asked there. Are you asking me, would I want to remake Fallout as a 3D game? Are you asking me?
I would love for him to come back to Fallout, but I don't know if that's something that he would actually do, only because I think his view on modern game developing is not in line with how he would do it. So I think that's a major holdback. Now, if you guys were present here about 5 months ago, he did a long discussion about why he doesn't like the way games are developed now. And I would like for him to do another Fallout. If he did a 3D remaster or redo of Fallout 1 and 2, I'd be happy with that. I would play it. I played the Fallout 1 and 2 when they first, not when they first came out, but I played the original ones when they came out, and I had a lot of fun with them. So I would like for him to come back, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, no involvement. Okay. All right.
Would I want to make a Fallout offshoot? You know, like Fallout New Vegas is. It's not a
he does his own
one of
vids.
the Fallouts.
Okay.
It's just, here's Fallout in a new place. Do I want to make Fallout 5? So the answer is complicated because it's not really what you think. I'm not talking about, yeah, but it depends on what kind of authority I have, or it depends on what it's, you know, who's in charge or whatever. No, it has nothing with that.
Yeah, I heard Project Zomboid is really good. I've never played it.
What I want to do is, and I know I have a career video that goes over all my games, but I think if you look at all the RPGs I've made over the years, there is a pattern to them. Once you understand the pattern, you that will give you a context for my answer on whether I'd make another Fallout game. And the TLDW is every RPG I ever made offered me something new and different that got me interested in making it. It had nothing to do with money, power, authority, role on the game. It was the game itself offered me something interesting that made me go, ooh, I want to do that. I've never done that. Now, you could go back and look at every single one of my game development story videos. If you don't know already, there are a ton of playlists on this channel, and some are by company.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
Some
Dave.
are by
I really
role.
haven't.
You are, you know.
I'm also a big fan of Dave. Oh, crap, what's his last name? It's on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot remember it. He did. He was the lead guy on Diablo 1 and 2. David Brevik. And I haven't played all of his games, but one game in particular that he did, and I played it for about a year, it was very short-lived, unfortunately, was Marvel Heroes Omega. And it played just like Diablo 1 and 2, just with Marvel characters. And I had a blast playing that game. And it was so much fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. And he basically said that Marvel Heroes Omega, you know, minus the characters and the powers, was exactly what he wanted Diablo 3 to be, but he had left Blizzard at that point because it was not what he thought. It was not what he wanted anymore. And the unfortunate thing is that Disney bought Marvel and canceled Marvel Heroes Omega, and that was without warning. So anybody that had money invested in the game, because you could buy characters. I mean, it was microtransactions. It was a lot. It was a free game that had microtransactions, and it was mostly cosmetic. There was a few characters that you could buy, or you could grind the in-game currency and buy them that way. But and that sucked because I liked that game, and I still like Dan Brevik games. I haven't played them all, but you know, there's a few out there that I did very much enjoy.
Artist production, but you can also look it up by game. So there's a Fallout playlist, and you can see all my game development stories about Fallout. There's an Arcanum playlist, and you can see all my game development stories about Arcanum. But there is a common thread to all of them that I will lay out here. And if you want, there's too many to list below. Go to one of the game playlists and watch them with this new lens of, oh, Tim did that game because it offered him something different. So, and I also don't want to ignore the first 3 games I did. So that would be Grand Slam Bridge, Bard's Tale Construction Set, and Rags to Riches. These 3 games were assigned
I played Rag to Riches.
And I was
didn't
happy
know he
to do
made
it.
that.
I mean, first of all, that represents the first 13 years I was in game
it was
development.
an interplay.
And that's really common, that games are just assigned to you. Your whole career, you may just work on games that are assigned to you. I got lucky that I got to start picking what my projects were. And then, starting with Fallout, every game since, except one, and I'll mention it, was a game I wanted to work on. Whether it was assigned to me or not, it was one I would have picked because there was something in it that I wanted to do. Also, I was very happy to work on those first 3 games because, and I've said this before, you can like games, you can play games, you can talk about games, and you can watch all the game development videos in the world, but none of that is a substitute to rolling up your sleeves and actually doing game development. So I was happy to work on those games because I learned a ton about game development. So let's talk about Fallout. Fallout was my first project, like the first project that was assigned to me. I was the producer. I was the project leader. I was the person who was going to run this project. That was amazing. And if you watch my videos, it kind of just happened. It was supposed to be someone else, and he was too busy, and then it got assigned to me, but I didn't have anybody. It just kind of grew from there. I loved it. To me, this is my first project. I can grow it into anything I want, any setting, any story. I can pick the mechanics that are going to be on it. That was amazing to me. Well, funny, when I look back on it, there were still
Anybody
people
play
at
the
Interplay
first
that came up
Fallout?
to me
I
and
loved
said, wow, you've only been here a couple years and you're already on your first project. To which I would reply, yeah, but I've been in the industry for 13 years. You can't claim that's fast. Getting your first project after 13 years isn't exactly a meteoric rise.
No.
So I loved working on Fallout. Watch my videos. I loved it. I loved the team. There was so much about that project. Everything just fell into being right. I mean, there were a lot of speed bumps too, but I want to make clear that the reason I didn't want to do Fallout 2, even before there were any issues towards the end, when it turned out, hey, this is a really cool game, we should start a sequel, I was like, I don't really want to work on that. You know, I told that to Fergus, and he assigned a new team, and they went off and running. And it was because I don't really like working on sequels. I've got a whole video about that.
I thought
there
he
was
did
basically
do
nothing
Fallout
about
2.
Fallout 2 that said to me, hey, you want to do this? It's really cool.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, dude, it was a tough
game. And say,
game.
hey, it's your first sequel. But I was like, I just spent 3.5 years working on Fallout. Why would I want to make Fallout 2? And just to say I put the money where my mouth was, when I left Interplay and EA offered me a job, a well-paying job, doing Wasteland 2, I turned that down too for the same reason. I just made a post-apocalyptic game. Why would I want to do another one? So when Leonard Barsky and Jason Anderson and I put together Troika, it was because we talked about it and we're like, hey,
I thought he did
it's our
do
turn
too.
to make a fantasy game. We really wanted to make a fantasy RPG. We hadn't done that. Of course, we put our own spin on it with the magic tech stuff, but that was what Arcanum was to me. It's like, hey, you're gonna have your own company.
I never played Arcanum, and I've heard fantastic things. I was somewhat of a Sierra fanboy because I had played like Sylpheed and several other Sierra titles. So I'm surprised I didn't play this. I just didn't. I'm not sure if it was a live service that went wrong with it. It was the fact that they were going to do a completely player-driven economy in a game. I don't know about now, but the way Fallout players play Fallout, they play solo. So I knew that just wasn't going to work for Fallout 76.
You can make your own fantasy game. It can be anything you want.
Yeah, the turn-based does kind of suck.
We didn't have an editor,
but
so we all just shoved in everything every idea we ever had up to that point. Arcanum is very much a kitchen sink game because it's got just so many features in it. And because of that, some of the features are only halfway done. There's a lot of bugs, whatever. I still love Arcanum because it was my first fantasy IP. After Arcanum shipped, and we got offers from different things. I mean, I talked about what we were going to do with Arcanum 2 and Lord of the Rings. But when Atari came to our office and said, we want you to make a D&D game and you can pick what you want to do. And I was thinking, it's 3rd edition, which I like. No one's ever done Greyhawk. No one's ever done Temple of Elemental Evil, which I loved from high school. Maybe I get to talk to Gary Gygax, and I did. That was just too much. These are things you can do that are new and original that you've never done. I had to say yes. Now, when the Bloodlines offer came along to work on Vampire Bloodlines, that was great.
I didn't play that one.
I mean, that would have been.
I don't think I've played the D&D one either.
Tim in 2001, it would have been my first 3D game, and it was. It also turned out to be the first game I ever made in a game engine that I didn't create. So Source was the first game engine I ever used, Valve's Source engine. It was interesting to see a game engine made by somebody else. And also, it was the first time I worked in C++. I knew it. I'd been academically trained in it, but all my games up until this point had been in C with some assembly. So Vampire alone, Bloodlines, was a lot of firsts. First 3D game, first C++ game, first game in an engine I didn't make. That was wild. After Troika shut down, and I cast about, I had fallen in love with MMOs. I've talked about EverQuest. I've talked about World of Warcraft.
I've played EverQuest.
The idea of being able to
Ultima
go
Online.
to Carbine and make an MMO was too attractive not to say yes to.
Anybody
it was
play
sort of like,
WildStar?
hey, I've done a lot of RPGs. Now let's do an MMO.
WildStar was another game that I knew about. I had seen it. People had talked about it, but I never bought it. I never played it. And it was one of those things. I can't remember. I would go to the mall where I grew up, and they had PC games and stuff in there and posters and all that. And no, it wasn't Funko-Land or GameStop. And I'd see this in there every once in a while, and I'd always meant to pick it up, and it just never happened. So I'd be interested if any of you guys ever played this, but I didn't know he was connected to this at all. And that was something, like I said, there was a PC store in the mall that I would go by. The mall is basically gutted out and hardly is a mall anymore. But I remember going there and seeing that.
MMORPG. Chance to learn about online games and how
was it any good, Dave?
Having thousands of people on a server, how you handle, the front end for that networking code. It was writing AI that had to handle not just a few dozen creatures or a few hundred creatures, but literally thousands of creatures. I was like, I have to be part of that. Later, when I left Carbine and I was
anybody play City of Heroes, City of Villains?
Someone at Interplay or somebody at Obsidian who knew me knew
Obsidian's
that
got
I
some
wasn't
good titles
looking for
too.
like, hey, where can I make more money than what I made at Carbine? Where can I be a director again? When they said, hey, would you like to come to Obsidian and help us out? He went, it's a console game. I had never made a console game. I started at Obsidian in 2011, so I'd been in the industry for 20 years. Or no, 2011. I'd been in the industry for 30 years. 30 years. 30 years. I had never, ever, ever made a console game. So I was really excited about that. Now, it turned out it was, in addition to Xbox, it was PlayStation 3. And I found the PlayStation 3 a challenging experience. But keep in mind, I'm not talking about challenge here. And I want to distinguish that. I'm not saying I kept looking for new challenges. I just kept looking for something that was different, something I hadn't done before. I'd never done console programming.
See, this man right here, here's what I like about his here's what I like about his personality here. He's not looking to repeat the same thing and do the same type of game over and over and over again. He's looking for the not the next new shiny thing, but he wants to do something new every time he does a game. And I think that keeps his career exciting to him and he doesn't get bored with it. Because I would have a feeling that some people that are in the game sphere that have developed the same types of games over and over again just get bored and burnt out. I mean, some people I'm sure probably enjoy it, but he seems like he's the kind of guy that's not satisfied with doing the same thing over and over again. And he wants to not look for a new challenge per se, like he said, but just something new to do.
For me, South Park was an interesting game, not because of the IP, which I did like.
This was a good game. I didn't know he did this.
And not for the chance to work at Obsidian where about a third of the people there were people I already knew from Interplay. It was, hey, I get to make a console game. That was fun.
I played this.
And then when we were finishing up with South Park, and Josh and Adam had the idea to do a Kickstarter game, and that was what became Pillars.
He joined Star Citizen. Shit, he already put up Pillars. Damn it.
That was interesting to me. Kickstarter, what is this new thing? You can make a game without a publisher?
Oh, it's Paradox Obsidian. Ooh.
Wow. Plus, they were going to do it on Unity, which had been floating around for a while. I had never done anything on it. There was an opportunity to code in C#, which again is something that I had been new for. Wow, I knew C# as far back as maybe 2005. So I'd already been doing stuff in C#. So when we started Pillars in 2014, that's almost 9 years of C# experience. But a chance to actually make a game with it I had never done. And at this point, I should say, because I had done Source before, and now Unity was the second engine I was going to use, I would like to point out that you don't really know an engine until you make something with it. A lot of people have asked me about Godot. I can't really talk about Godot. I've looked at it, but until you roll up your sleeves and you make a game, you publish a game, I want to say, with an engine, you don't really know about it. Because I asked some of my industry colleagues about Godot, and I heard some horror stories about publishing having to do with localization, getting the game out in other countries, on different platforms. And I'm like, I wouldn't have known that unless I actually made a game. Not made a game for fun, not made a toy at home with it, but actually developed and published and put out a game with the engine. Nothing against Godot. Never worked on it. That's what
Buck Orion released a video earlier today, I think it was, or yesterday, and I did a react to it, and you were in it, and yeah. So I saw you.
That's the feedback I got from fellow game devs, and that made me realize I'm not going to talk about Godot. I can't talk about Unity. It's got its pros and cons. But really what Pillars offered to me was, hey, do you want to make a Kickstarter game on a brand new engine and a language you've never made a game on before? Yes, I do. Now, that gets me to the next one, Tyranny. Tyranny is the one exception.
Never played that one either.
Hey, I got to pick to work on a game, and I picked it because it was something different. Tyranny was on the same engine as Pillars, Unity, C++, C#. There was nothing necessarily novel about it. I mean, I love it. It had a really interesting setting. But if I have to really think hard about Tyranny, I loved working on it. I loved the game.
Pillars or Tyranny?
For the first time in decades, I was working on something that was assigned to me rather than something that I picked that I wanted to work on because there was a really distinct difference to it. Which reminded me when I was making Tyranny, I'm like, oh yeah, Until this point, for 3 decades, I was really going to things that had something that, hey, here's something new for you to do. Tyranny was
exactly.
Just, here's a bunch of skills I have. I know I can do this. Here it is. That was one of several reasons.
That was major desync too.
That
you look like
the Outer Worlds was something I considered when they said,
wanted
hey,
to play Outer
again?
Worlds
Because the Outer Worlds, it wasn't really being the director. It was, hey, do you want to make a sci-fi game? I had never really made a sci-fi game. You can argue that Fallout is sci-fi, but this was true sci-fi. Spaceships, other worlds, true sci-fi.
I want to try this game.
Sci-fi, and it was on Unreal, which I had never used before, that I evaluated way back when we were thinking about doing Bloodlines, before Source was the one that our publisher said, hey, you should use Source.
Anybody try
so
Outer
I'd evaluated
Worlds?
Unreal
I've heard a lot of different things, a lot of good things about it.
2002, but this was an opportunity to use a much later, much more mature, very well-developed game engine. And it was interesting just for that reason.
A couple of people told me to check it out. I think Fateless was one.
That's kind of the context I wanted to give you, because now you understand. If someone came to me and said, you want to make a Fallout game? My answer is, well, what's new? I didn't even want to make Fallout 2. Why would I want to make a new Fallout game? What's different about it? And now you can see that you're literally asking me. You're not asking me a question about money. You're not asking me a question about power and authority. You're asking me a personal question with a personal answer, which is, would this be something I'd even be interested in doing because it's different?
Don't do it. It's a big time waster.
Some people are going to spin it to their lens of, well, aren't you just in a privileged position where you can say no to something because you don't need it? And I'm like, well, yeah, but a lot of people make those decisions all the time. If you decide not to work for a big corporation because it's not your style, or you don't want to work at a company that crunches, or you don't want to work at a company that has questionable ethics, I've
heard a lot of people say they like Outer Worlds, like a lot of people.
Something in your life over the money. And I get people are always going to spin it that way of I guess it's nice you don't need the money, but you know, when I didn't have a lot of money, I still turned down some better paying gigs because I wanted to do something that I wanted. Like starting Troika, we didn't have much money and I was not in a good financial state to spin up a company, and I turned down a well-paying gig at EA. But all I can tell you is I've been there.
It sounded like he said giggity, but he said gig at EA.
Spin up a company, and I turned down a well-paying gig at EA. But all I can tell you is I've been there. I've decided on money what didn't count as much as other things.
Rakumo,
even when I wasn't in a position to go, oh yeah, I'll be fine if this doesn't work out. No, I was going to be really screwed if it didn't work out. But ironically, I want to finish this up. I've been approached by people recently, like in the last few years, like over the pandemic, by people wanting me to direct a game for them with money in their hands. But there was absolutely nothing new in the offer for me. And they tried to convince me, don't you want to make a new IP?
Interesting.
Don't you want to be a director again? And I didn't know what to say other than I've been there. I've done that. Nothing you're coming to me with is new. And
I kind of like that he wants new.
I was going to say, oh yeah, I'll work for you and now you can pay me peanuts. But it's more of, I'm not even interested unless there's something new and different there. Now, when we get down to the nitty gritty, I do want to get paid well. I've got the experience. I got the chops. I think I should get paid well. But that isn't what you're going to initially attract me into your proposal with. And one of the things I like telling the clients I'm working with now is I would not be here if I wasn't interested in this. I had a client who basically wanted me to be on board on one of their projects, and they even said something along the lines of, well, you know, we're not sure how much, final say you have, and we're not sure how much we'll be able to pay. And I said, well, I read your GDD, and this is a really interesting game. Never seen anything quite like it. Yeah, I'd like to work on that.
Oh shit, he got sucked into Star Citizen.
That is just an example of where I am now. So when people ask me, would you work on Fallout? The very first question out of my mouth would be, what's new about it? And if you don't have an immediate answer, if you have to go, well, I don't know, we may put in a new perk. Yeah, I'm probably not interested. So that's probably as close as an answer you ever get from me on whether or not I would work on a new Fallout.
Well, that was an interesting conversation by Timothy Kane. I'll share that with you guys. We'll probably do one more. I can hear thunder rumbling outside, so there's probably a storm about to hit. sometime very soon. And I don't want to lose internet in the middle of doing this because it just doesn't seem professional. So we're going to do one more and then I'm going to call it. So, yeah. This one's by Big Dan Gaming and it's about Star Wars Outlaws. We're gonna do this one, and this is gonna be the last one. I really wanted to do the futuristic toys moms hated and Captain Power and the thing that you got to shoot your TV in the late 80s, or yeah, it was late 80s. So yeah, do something fun. Do something fun. You know what? I got something fun for you guys. I like mini painting. I suck at it and I want to get better at it. And so, and this is also Battletech. So we're going to watch a Dungeon Brush Babbles video. It's short and we're just going to listen to him talk for a little bit about some painting. Here we go. It's Dungeon, guys. Dungeon is a friend of the channel, everybody. So if you haven't, check him out. He does a lot of miniature painting, tabletop game reviews, and we're talking about all kinds of tabletop games from World War I to Napoleonic era, military games, obviously Battletech, Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, and various other games. Check him out. I absolutely adore his channel. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I love what he does with these little minis. And these things, you guys are dicks and I love you. Yeah, let's check this stuff out. Elementals, by the way. Yes, he does Warhammer 40K. He has, if you go and you check out his channel, he has some of the first models Warhammer ever put out. And he has some of the more newer ones as well. But I'm a bigger fan of Battletech than I am Warhammer, mostly because I know the lore inside and out from like the late 1989 through like 1998, 1999-ish. And then after that, I kind of fell away from Battletech. Well, I mean, I played until like 2001, 2002, but I didn't keep up with the lore and I have to go back. I'm now going back and trying to catch up on the last basically 150 years worth of lore that I've missed out on. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, Battletech, Dungeon Brush Babbles. Please check him out. I'll put a link up after this.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Smoke Dungeon. DB here, and we're rolling along with Tiny Mini March, y'all. And check these out right here. These are some clan elementals.
Look how small those
painted
are.
them up like ghost bears, y'all, so they can ride on my ghost bear Omnimex and get dropped off and murder some stuff. Like I said, Tiny Man March. In March, we're painting nothing but things that are smaller than 28 mil.
You have to be somewhat skilled with a brush to paint these. Look at how small they are. I mean, these things aren't these little guys aren't even as big as his thumb. So you got to be pretty skilled with the brush to do this and make them look good.
And these dudes, I believe, are 8mm, just like Legion Imperialis. And you'll see I did these guys slightly different. One, they're painted up in my Ghost Bear scheme, which is primarily two contrast colors. It's Griff Charger Gray, which is going to be this blue-green. I don't even really know what the hell color you call that, y'all. What color do we call that? Is that a blue? Is that a green?
Detailed he painted those, and they're so small.
And then Basilicum Gray for their legs. And you'll see on these dudes, as opposed to my tiny Space Marines that I painted the other day, these guys, I went in, dude, I'm banging into everything here. I'm shaking. Shit is so tiny. It's hard. You'll see on these dudes, I actually went in and I threw just a dash of red on their eye lenses. And I felt like they were actually...
The brush control
on that on my
is
Space
amazing.
Marines. I didn't paint their eye lenses, y'all. I know, blasphemy. But on these ones, I felt like this red was much easier.
Right?
Because the way the eye slit on these suits is...
I think he had too much caffeine this morning.
You could just go in with a brush real quick and throw it in there. And then I believe these are small lasers on their hands. They're supposed to be on standard ones. I guess they could be flamers or machine guns. There's a million different kinds of elementals now. But back in the day, I think they were just small lasers. Two-shot SRM and then a
two-shot SRM and small laser
and some jump jets.
Jump jets.
So I painted the laser basilicum, or not basilicum gray, black Templar contrast.
I'm all right at soldering.
Before I didn't use Black Legion.
Here, let me get it for you guys. So I don't have it charged up right now. I don't have it charged up. It's not going to turn on. I'm sorry. I should have charged it up, but I made this, sorta. It is a lightsaber. It's green. Take out the diffuser. It is a lightsaber hilt. I had there's a custom shop online and they machine these parts. But I did all the wiring. There's the LED in there. I did all of the wiring myself. I did everything. Now originally I built my own like little spacers and stuff like that, and they barely fit. I mean, they barely fit. And I reached out to a guy, I forget what forum he was on. He now works for customsabers.com. But I went and I reached out to him before he worked there, and he made these cool little sleds. So this is the speaker, and you pulled this out, pull that off, and you grab the edges of the speaker. Now I can't pull it all the way out because it'll mess up the wiring. So that is, let's see if I can get it up close. That is the recharge port. You got your, it's blue, so it's gonna be really hard to show up. Let me see if I can get it. So that's the lithium ion battery. And then once again, it's green, so it may not show up. But right here on my finger, and it's only as wide as it's only about as wide as my finger, is a soundboard that I wired into here. And it comes with a mini SSD, a micro SSD, and I can change the sound files to how I want. And yeah, it's really cool. I had a lot of fun building this. They are very expensive though to build. So if this is a hobby that you would like to get into, it's very expensive. I have two more that I have to rebuild, and I haven't done it yet. And like I said, I have to rebuild them because, so this one, like I said, I bought, let's see. No, I did not fix it. I did all the wiring, put in all the resistors. I set up the switches. I set up the sensitivity for when it swings and clashes and all that stuff. I need to charge this so I can turn it on and you guys can hear what it sounds like. It's got the Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker saber sounds. It's green because I like Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker saber. I kind of modeled it after it with the emitter handle. I don't like Luke's handle. There's too many boxes and switches in the way. I bought this so I could spin it and, you know, do the Obi Annie and things like that. But yeah, I did not fix it. I did build this. It's just the aluminum body. I had somebody machine this for me basically, and then like I said, I built my own custom like mounting system, basically using plastic, a soldering iron, some screws, and some nuts and bolts. Whereas this, somebody 3D printed these discs, and this is just basically some copper piping from Home Depot that I use to put in between the plastic discs. So and it holds everything. Yeah. Can I make a bright or clear color? I mean, technically, yes. So the LED that I have in here, this is old school. The LED, I made this like 8 years ago. So the LED that's in here is a 1300 or 1800 lumen green LED, and it goes through the diffuser, and you know, it looks cool. So when you turn this on, and I don't have it charged right now, but when you turn this on, it just turns on, right? It flashes and then turns on, right? Because that's what it's programmed to do. Now you can go on, say, if you guys like custom sabers, there's a guy named Star Wars Theory. He has his own saber shop. They now use it's called electro something, and the lights will actually, so back in the day they used to use strings of LEDs, and then they found out when you banged them together they would break the strings of LEDs. Now they use a different thing where there's like a wire, and the light travels up and it travels down. Can you make a clear one? You can make a clear one. You can get an LED that's just clear and make it clear. The diffuser, it'll look white. You can get orange, yellow, purple, violet, pink, blue, green. You can get all the colors. You can even go on, like I said, on like sabertheories.com and go to his website. You can get where they have like a secondary button somewhere, and you can push the button and it will change colors. Or you can also, I just put the diffuser back on. You can hit the button and hold it and then rotate it like a motorcycle handle, and it'll change colors. Or you can actually set it so that it'll change sounds and have different sounds on it. But this was just a basic one, and like 8 years ago, between the aluminum body, that was about 120, 130 bucks. The soundboard that I bought was 250, 260. What's up, JT? You could do brown. I don't know of anybody that's done brown, but yeah, you could do brown. The soundboard was 150, 200 bucks. And then you start talking about all the wiring, the electronics, and all of that. The wiring is obviously not that expensive, but the battery, 20 bucks, speaker, 20, 30 bucks. The 3D printed spacers, I think it was like 10, 15 bucks for all of it. But once the diffuser was 30, 40 bucks. So this was like 300 bucks to make on my own. And the only reason why I did this is because my original Force FX lightsaber broke, and yeah, I was not happy about that. So I made this one. I have two more downstairs that are broken apart, and so this one uses a very expensive soundboard, but the ones that I have downstairs that are broken apart, they actually use a Hasbro Feel the Force electronic soundboard in it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. It was like I said, it was like 8 years ago, and I bought a special PCB LED lithium ion battery. So that's, and 8 years ago, those weren't exactly cheap. Hey, you're probably right, Mason. You're probably right.
Which
all right, let's get back to
contrast paint black,
dungeon again.
And I feel like covers a little bit better. Gives you a little bit more coverage. Then I went in. The bases are painted like almost all my BattleTech bases. They are with textured GW paint, y'all.
Y'all.
And then I went in. This is the
I like the way he
smoke on
did the
back
smoke
here.
and the
Let's take a look at
flames. It
this.
looks really cool.
This is Apothecary White, I believe is what it is. And then up in here, I just did, fire, y'all. We did red, we did yellow. I threw a little bit of orange in there. Just like, blah, fire, fuego, burning you up, coming out the back. The weird thing on the fire as I shake everything is, on some of these dudes, you'll see I went down a little bit farther than others.
It makes it a little unique.
These models are, I actually...
Those are so tiny.
Honest, y'all. I slept on elementals for a while. Didn't really care for them in my BattleTech. Thought they were just like...
So I know you guys don't play BattleTech, the board game, and elementals have not appeared in the video games ever. People write off. I played a couple of campaigns in BattleTech with combined arms using infantry, tanks, and people write off combined arms. It's if you can play in a campaign with combined arms and you know what you are doing, between the battle mechs, the infantry, and the tanks, you can really mess somebody's day up bad. And that you would think a 30-foot tall steel behemoth that could level a 4 city blocks in a single pull of a trigger wouldn't be, infantry wouldn't be a threat to it. But you'd be very surprised at how many people discount infantry until they're right up on them and they're going, oh my God, they don't know what to do. And now add in power armor like these elementals are. These are clan power armors that just, I won't get into the BattleTech differences, but there's Intersphere and there's clan. And you combine this clan armor on infantry and you have a nightmare for a mech if they get too close. And even at distance with a small laser and they get 2 shots of SRMs, they can mess a mech up quick and get out of there before the mech has time to react, even on the in the board game. So don't sleep on, just because something doesn't look as powerful as the thing that you want. I don't know Warhammer, so I won't speak on that, but you have your 30-foot tall robots and then you got these little infantry guys like that. Don't sleep on these guys. They will mess your gaming experience up.
Okay, I don't know. Like, they weren't really my thing. To me, BattleTech was like giant robots smashing each other. You know what I mean?
See what I'm saying?
Shooting lasers at each other. But sorry, I needed a drink of the coffee. But eventually I was like, you know what? I'm gonna paint these dudes up. And I actually played a game with them. Alpha Strike
nasty.
game. I'll be
They're
honest,
nasty.
not regular BattleTech. Alpha Strike. And these dudes are actually cool for holding objectives and stuff. If you're playing an objective-based game. If you're just playing like a kill game, I'm not really sure they're any good. Maybe they will be a little bit better when there's a lot more vehicles and stuff that's available for Alpha Strike. And yeah, I know you can 3D print your stuff and download unit cards.
I think like I said, I played a few combined arms campaigns, and I think far too often power armor, infantry, and tanks are just written off in the game of BattleTech, and you can really it's not the size. Exactly. You can really mess your opponent up with these things because they discount them as being worthless.
That kind of stuff. So in that respect, they probably already have a purpose, right? But as far as I'm concerned, when the mercenary box comes out, I think these guys will really come into their own, because you'll have more vehicles in the game. You'll have regular battle armor from the inner spheres and stuff. And I'm just really looking forward to it.
You can see he's got paint on his fingers.
The weird thing is, these dudes, I will say this much, they are, they came in a 5-star elemental pack, a 5-unit elemental star pack. And then I believe you get 2 bases.
I'm going to get into painting. I've painted a couple. I'm not exactly the most proud of them.
Invasion box. But I guess if you go online, you can find unit cards for these dudes where it's actually only 3 battle suits, 4 or 5. So I don't know. I really like these dudes. I enjoyed painting them. They were definitely
it's got green on it, so
different than the Space Marines that I painted. Just because they're a little
the green's gonna blend into it.
They're a little bit more spread out on the base, if I'm being honest, which is cool because you get the
like
jumping guys.
Camo.
So you can actually, whereas the Legion Imperialis dudes, I like paint them on the sprue. These dudes you can paint on the base because you could get a lot of the way these dudes are lifted up in the air. You could get around and into the back of everything pretty good, which I thought is pretty cool. One thing I thought about was actually cutting some of the smoke trails off of these dudes, like making this guy just walk on 1 or 2 bases. Because if you look, when it's 5 bases and they're all the same like that,
it does kind of look the same.
I don't know. It just strikes me as weird that the guys in the back are all the jumping ones. You know what I mean? Like, why isn't one guy in the front over there jumping? Or like a little bit more variation in mixology is, I feel like would be awesome. But I also wasn't really
I got more toys
because you got to cut them off the base.
Not like that. Not like that.
And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just painting some elementals, dude. And the one thing I did,
I thought we'd do something different as far as reacting to videos tonight.
Opinions on this, and I know my light is shit, but on this one,
I like the darker smoke.
Me wasn't really feeling the white smoke on some of these guys, and then
his
I went
hands
on
are really
this
shaking bad in this one
gray
today.
and one white. And
too much coffee.
Know, clearly,
Dungeon. Too much coffee.
After looking at that, I think I like the white better.
I don't know. I like the dark one better
because the gray just blends too much with the actual.
A little bit, but
of the elemental suit's legs. But yeah,
it looks dirty.
I don't know. These models pretty cool. They have a lot of flash on them, like a lot of the and mold lines and stuff. Like a lot of the catalyst stuff.
I agree.
It's
I think he's
more
correct.
Predominant on
maybe move them around a little bit, different heights,
of the smoke and whatnot. But I don't know. I still dig them, you know. And I think it's dope. You can throw these dudes, like I said, you throw these dudes on an Omni mech, bum rush an objective, throw them down, and then dudes like, yo, you got mechs and you got these dudes in the objective. Like, what do I do now? You know.
You're asking if he was using matte metallic paint. He's using a combination of paint to make it look metallic, but a lot of the quote unquote military tabletop guys, they don't really do the metallic paint. You might see some metallic here and there, like on the gun barrels, and then they'll dry brush them to give them a little, to take some of that sheen off and stuff. But I don't see it too often in the mini painters that I watch, and I do watch a few mini painters. I find it relaxing watching some of these guys paint, and then I also learn things from them that I want to try. I have so very little time and so very many things that I have to do and accomplish from week to week that I need to get back to doing this sort of thing. And I really want to do this more. I found it relaxing when I did it before, and I want to do this again. Basically, I work with electronics, so I appreciate the fine work. I do too. Do I work with electronics? Not all the time. I used to build these things. You know, I got a couple of metal handles. 2 of them are empty right now, and I got to redo the soundboards and the wiring for them. And but this one is complete. I just don't have it charged. I need to charge it. Yeah, I fixed 2. Yeah, like I said, we're 5 showing off toys. I'm not going to go get them, but I have 2 Force Effects lightsabers. I have the Anakin or Luke Skywalker Episode 4 lightsaber, and then I have Darth Vader's OG trilogy saber as well. But yeah, can I plug your merch store? I don't expect anyone to buy anything, but I feel like nobody we know's got cool swag on sale. I won't. I mean, if you want, go ahead. I mean, I honestly, let me finish this video and then I'll tell you the story.
I feel like that's where they're really good. They got jump jets too, so you can get them on top of buildings or in terrain, all kinds of stuff like that, which is really cool. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
The
Face
worst,
reveal.
dude.
Face reveal.
I just knocked the whole camera. Yeah, man. What a bummer.
Okay, so that was Dungeon Brush Babbles. Please, guys, do me a favor. Check him out. Give him a little love. He's a cool guy. I like him. I like him a lot. I like his videos. And my favorite thing he does is Magic the Gathering, Dank or Jank. He plays a lot of the older legacy stuff, but I enjoy that. So we're going to wrap up here. But before we do that, I have a few things I want to get to. So number one, Backspace, you asked if you could plug my store. You can definitely plug my store. The way I love Dungeon because he does leave his mistakes in his videos. He doesn't edit very much out of his videos. If he misspeaks, if he drops the camera, if he drops his model, he doesn't edit it out. He just does it. I like it. If you want to plug my store, go ahead. I don't mind. The only reason why I have a store is because guys like JT and I believe Mason and Pagan kept bugging me. And I say this in a nice way. I'm not talking down about these guys. They kept bugging me over and over and over again for merch. And I was sub, 100 and then 200. Oh, your store. Go ahead. Your store. Go ahead. Plug away. But yeah, I'll finish the story anyways. I made one and people bought some shit, and that's really it. I have some of my own stuff. I'm not wearing it today. Today I'm wearing a Marvel shirt. But yes, please do plug your store. Go ahead, plug it. Yes, I hate all of you guys. No, I'm just kidding. So here's the deal, guys. I know a lot of you guys work tomorrow morning, but I'll be on Discord throughout the night. I have to stay up all night long until about 7 o'clock-ish. And then tomorrow night I work, and Thursday night I work. Friday, Saturday, Sunday I am off. Friday when I get home from work, I got to mow the lawn. And after that, I was thinking we do can't help. I plan on playing some Nobody Wants to Die, and I'm not sure what else I'm gonna do over the weekend, but I got sent something in the mail from a viewer, and it's space related, so I'm going to be playing some sort of space game over the weekend and showing off that particular thing that I got in the mail. And I'm not sure what else I've really got going on. I primed up a few more battle tech mechs. So yeah, I might have to show some of those off as well, but yeah. Guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been doing this for a little while. My ass hurts a little bit, not because the chair sucks, just been sitting down for too much. Backspace, if you're not in the Discord, let me put up a thing. I think you are, but I'm not sure if you are, but I don't know. Maybe. Let me put it up. Put it up in there as well. Throw it up in the self promos. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. Guys, I'm going to take off. You have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you on the back end of the week, and we might have to close up, so if you like skulls and monochrome design, don't miss out. Oh, okay. Cool. I forgot what I was saying. But anyways, gotta go, blah, blah, blah. Check out Backspaced, Marcus, Pagan, Canop. I'm not sure who else I missed. Anybody else out there? Mr. E, there's a few others. Guys, have a great night. So long. Thanks for all the fish, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.